showdown, and the series was all about pitching. The first night was in the hands of Kyle Kendrick as he pitched the Phillies to a win through 6 strong innings. The second night belonged to Doc, who was perfect in every sense of the way. 27 up, 27 down, and the Phillies grabbed a piece of history in game number 2. The series finale was another duel, and in the end, it was Anibal Sanchez and the Marlins pen pitching the shutout. The setting changes from South Florida to South Philadelphia, but the pitching matchups remain exactly the same. Last time the Phillies and the Marlins got together down in South Florida, things worked out quite well for the Phillies. Tonight, it's game 1 of a 3-game series, and in all 3 games, it is exactly the same pitching matchup. Hi, everybody. I'm Tom McCarthy, along with Gary Matthews. Chris Wheeler will be along in just a little bit. Well, last time the Phillies faced the Marlins down in Miami, Sarge, the Phillies took 2 of 3, and Roy Halladay not only outdueled Josh Johnson in game 2, but he pitched a perfect game. The scenarios for this week are exactly the same.
Yeah, they are. Hopefully the outcome is going to be the same. Maybe get one more game and actually sweep them. Take a look here at the graphics there. Exactly the same rotation there. You can see Kyle where he's getting ready to pitch tonight. Doc, and let me tell you, this Josh Johnson, he's not a bad hombre either. And let me tell you about Jamie Moyer. Boy, oh boy, he's just been pitching lights out so far, Tom.
Well, you mentioned that Kyle Kendrick will get the start tonight. Kyle has been very effective over his last handful of starts. They've kind of tinkered with his delivery, and that certainly has helped him out. And he was also really good the last time he faced the Marlins.
Yeah, needs that changeup, needs to keep the ball down. When he gets ground balls, that's when he's at his best. Take a look at the highlights here. That was in Florida. Good pitch. Nice sinker. When he gets the sinker and the ground balls, he's deadly. He's going to have that going on in order to get this team here and to get him out the way that he should. He gets that ball, and there's a miscue. That's the only problem that he had in his last outing because he gave up those 2 runs. And you take it what he's done at home and on the road, well, not so hot here at home there. Hits 30 on the road, 36 hits. But again, all the pitchers for me have been pitching pretty good. If they can get a good lead here, he should be okay.
Well, the Phil starting staff has been outstanding. It's been the offense that's been the real issue for them. We'll see if they can get back on track and if the starters can continue what has been a pretty good handful of weeks. The Phillies begin play tonight, 2 games behind the Atlanta Braves. There are the Florida Marlins, 5 games back and 2 games under the 500 mark. The first pitch of the starting lineups in game 1 of this 3-game series coming up next. behind Kyle Kendrick. And the sun is shining brightly right into the eyes of the new right fielder for at least tonight, Ben Francisco, who will start in place of Jason Worth. And there are those shadows and the sunshine that we were talking about. It is bright, and it has been bright all day long here in Philly. Let's take a look at the Marlins starting lineup, brought to you by Xfinity, only from Comcast. Leading it off in left field, Chris Coghlan. Gabby Sanchez, the first baseman, bats second. Hanley Ramirez hits third, followed by Jorge Cantu, the third baseman. Dan Uggla's at second, batting fifth. Cody Ross hits sixth. The rookie Mike Stanton, who's making his major league debut tonight, he'll bat seventh. Batting eighth is Ronnie Paulino. And hitting ninth and pitching is big right-hander Chris Volstad. And they will face Phillies right-hander Kyle Kendrick, who is coming off a couple of pretty good starts wheels away from Citizens Bank Park.
He has pitched a lot better, Tom. You know, they've been happy with his tempo, that he hasn't been real deliberate out there. He's used all his pitches, command his fastball. Left-handed hitters are still hitting 315, but, you know, maybe 3 or 4 starts ago that was closer to 370. So that is something that he's been able to do a little bit better. Here's the Southwest Airlines scouting report. That's that game at Florida where he pitched so well. Mentioned he's picking up the tempo and doing much better job with the left-handed hitters. His fastball, for the most part, is a sinker, and it's something he has to locate, but they really feel that he's using his other pitches much more effectively, and his fastball sets it all up.
Rich Doobie was talking yesterday about tinkering with some things with his windup. What they've done is they've tried to get him a little more over the top with the way he's throwing and not rearing back or bending with his upper body as much. And they think that has paid off the last handful of starts, and the numbers certainly show that. And Rich Doobie doing a little house cleaning, make sure his sights are set.
Well, that would have really affected his sight. What he pulled off there, then. We'll have to tell him. Boy, little things bother you, huh?
Well, Wheels in HD, you can see everything.
Well, little things do bother him. He's a beauty.
Well, Chris Coghlan will lead it off for the Marlins. Well, since we last saw the Florida Marlins, Chris Coghlan has certainly found his stroke. And he's found his confidence. And the first pitch is in there for strike, and we're underway.
Yeah, he's a rookie of the year again now. Yeah, and he's starting to pick up multiple hit games. This guy can spray it all over the place.
He has 16 hits in his last 40 at-bats. And that has raised his batting average from 210 to where it sits now at 262. And there was some thought, even after May 6th, that they might send him out to the minor leagues to try to get him straightened out. And quickly, Kendrick is ahead, 1 ball and 2 strikes.
Talking to Tommy Hutton before the game, the Florida broadcaster, he said, and another thing that's happening with him, now the ball that maybe been a foot foul when he hits it's a foot fair. The ball that the shortstop would jump and catch now goes over his head. And it makes all the difference in the world when you start to get a little luck, too.
And he stays alive and fouls that one off. Kyle comes into this game with 3 wins and an earned run average of 4.62. And you see what he's dealing with now with Chris Coghlan, who here in the month of June has really lit it up. Toward left field, Ibanez on the run, makes the grab, 1 away. So Coghlan hit it hard, but it was right at Raul. Yeah, there's 1 set aside here in the top of the first.
Marlins are very excited about Mike Stanton playing here today. Of course, he's not going to say he's not going to hit in this inning. Hope he's not going to hit in this inning because he's a 7-hole hitter. And he's a much ballyhooed prospect. And seen him take batting practice twice today. And he's really strong.
There he is, getting ready for his first opportunity of the big leagues in a Marlins uniform.
Look at him watching the game. Now that right there, I know, first impressions and everything in your life are lasting. That's a great first impression. Look at him watching the game.
Well, the young man is wide on Wheels.
Well, a lot of guys don't watch a game. You know, they got other things.
Gabby Sanchez hits it hard down the left field line, angling toward the pole, and the Marlins lead it 1-0. Sanchez, his 5th home run of the year. And it was a bullet. And it's 1-0 Florida. Kyle has not given up many home runs. That's just the 8th home run he has surrendered this season.
Whether it was a sinker that just didn't get in or not, because it looked like it was a fastball. Oh, yeah. Maybe that was a cutter. It sure was over the heart of the plate, though, and up. And Gabby Sanchez just tomahawked that out of the ballpark.
So a 1-0 lead for the Marlins, who have not hit that well lately. And Hanley Ramirez is part of that issue. His average is at .284.
He led off the other day when they were trying to juggle some things around up in New York to win a game, but they got swept.
Freddie Gonzalez said that he wanted to lead him off because he wanted to just try to jumpstart him and this Marlins offense. There was some thought it was going to last longer than just that one day. Down low, 1 ball and 1 strike. There is Freddie. He's the all-time winningest manager in Marlins history with 270 victories. And he has 273 losses. They lost some tough ones this past weekend in New York. In fact, they had leads of 3-0 and 5-0 in 2 of those games. And their bullpen squandered both of those leads.
Kendrick trying to throw that little comeback sinker. Started off the plate and running back towards the outside corner.
Little low, and it's 3 balls and 1 strike. Jorge Cantu waits on deck for the Marlins. Hanley Ramirez several weeks ago was benched by Freddie Gonzalez after not going after a ball in which he kicked to the left field corner down at Sun Life Stadium. And he came back after sitting a couple of days because he was in the doghouse, and he had 3 hits in his first game back. But since that time, he's hit only .230 for Florida. And Kyle Kendrick gets him on a sinker on the outside part of the plate for the second out.
Yeah, that was a pitch he tried to get him on earlier in the count. And then he threw 2 in a row, and they came back pretty well. Here it is. We call it a comeback sinker because you see it starts away, and then it comes right back over the outside corner. That's the one that Greg Maddux was so effective with, and where the left-handed hitter can freeze them too, because you start at their hip, and they quit on it. To a right-handed hitter, it looks outside.
Awful lot of movement on it, too, as it comes back. Here's Cantu with 2 away. And he takes one at the knees for a strike. It's 0-1. Cantu this year against the Phillies has 5 hits and 25 at bats. Overall hitting .289. He is 3rd in the league in RBIs with 43. Albert Pujols and Troy Glaus lead the way. Those guys have 44.
This guy probably hit one of the hardest balls in Roy Halladay's perfect game, and a great play that Castro made to his left when Juan was playing third base.
There's a changeup, and it's 1-2. There's Roy Halladay, who will start tomorrow's game against Josh Johnson. As we mentioned during the outset, we have the same pitching matchups for a 2nd straight series between the Phillies and the Marlins. Swing and a miss. He got him. Back-to-back strikeouts for Kendrick. Back-to-back changeups for Kendrick. He allows the 1-out home run to Gabby Sanchez. That gives the Marlins a 1-0 lead. So we head to the bottom of the 1st. The Marlins won, and the Phils coming up. But here's the change for the night. Ben Francisco starts in right field. He'll bat fifth. Raul Ibanez, the left fielder, hits sixth. Wilson Valdez is at shortstop batting seventh. And the last two hitters, Carlos Ruiz and Kyle Kendrick. And they'll be facing big right-hander Chris Volstad, who's making his 12th start overall. And he's faced the Phillies a lot over the last couple of years, Wilson.
Yeah, and he's one of those guys that can crank up a good one. The Phillies did beat him behind Kyle Kendrick down in Florida. Lifetime 2-3 against the Phils in 7 starts. And there's the Southwest Airlines scouting report on him. He has a really good breaking ball. He likes to throw sinkers, and he's a high pick, a #1. And that's kind of fun to talk about this time of the year with the draft going on.
Yeah, the Major League Baseball draft is in its second day. And we will have Marty Wolliver, who's the Phillies director of scouting, on in just a little while to talk about the Phillies' first 2 days of the draft.
He is from Palm Beach Gardens, Florida, is Volstad, which is up 95 from where they play their games.
Victorino hits it to the right side, and it's tracked down by Dan Ugla. His throw is a little wide, but he's able to retire Shane for the first out. So 1 away, and here's Placido Polanco. Polanco's had a good homestand. He's 8 for 17 with 3 runs scored, and that's lifted his average to 320. Kind of think about what he's done on this homestand. You discard the numbers against the Marlins because he was certainly battling that sore elbow the last time the Phillies and the Marlins faced each other, so he didn't play. And it seems like he's got some pretty good flexibility in that left elbow because he's enjoyed the month of June. During the 2010 season, Turkey Hill will contribute $100 for each Phillies victory and 5 cents for each carton of Phillies Grand Slam ice cream, sold to support the Phillies youth baseball and softball programs. There's that curve, and it's fouled at home play. Ronnie Paulino lost his mask on that one.
You don't see many of those where it bounces up and hits the mask and knocks it off the guy.
Top of the second inning down at D.C. and Steven Strasburg's major league debut. Ryan Zimmerman has given him a 1-0 lead. That game's gone to the top of the second inning. Strasburg struck out 1 in his first half inning and threw just 11 pitches, so he got through it pretty easily.
He's probably pretty crowded down there tonight.
Standing room only at Nationals Park. 2-2 the count to Polanco. In fact, Ivan Rodriguez was taken off the disabled list today, probably a little earlier than the Nationals had wanted because they wanted to make sure that he was behind the plate for Strasburg's debut. Swing and a miss as Polanco misses the fastball, and they're 2 away. First strikeout for Volstad, who now has 45 strikeouts in 69 innings of work this year.
Well, pretty good breaking ball set that up. Pitches before that down with off-speed stuff and then up high with a fastball. Even a good hitter like Polanco, he changes eye level like that, change speeds like that. And, you know, so what happened. He swung and missed at the pitch.
Chase is averaged down to 260 with 10 homers and 25 runs batted in. He has just 2 hits in his last 19 at-bats. And Charlie spent a lot of time today talking about Chase and his struggles. And one thing he did say is that one guy sort of feeds off another guy. And there's not too many folks that are swinging a consistently hot bat in this Phillies lineup. And it seems to be carrying from one spot in the order to the other spots in the order.
Well, it's at the point now where they just shake their head. They have no clue what it is. You know, what's going on here right now because it's so unusual. There's Jason Worth getting a chance to sit and watch tonight. Nothing wrong with him other than the fact that he's really struggling. They were going to talk a little bit before the game. Charlie was a little late putting his lineup out because he wanted to talk to Jason Worth probably now that we see what he did. Didn't want to tell him, you know, I'm going to sit you tonight.
Give Ben Francisco a chance to get some ABs in Jason's place. And it's 3-1 to Chase. Yeah, Charlie was saying that Chase's struggles affects Ryan Howard. Ryan's power struggles have affected Jason Worth, and you know, the list goes on and on. That one's in the air to left field. Backing up is Coghlan to the warning track. He has room and he makes the catch. It's a 1-2-3 first inning for Chris Volstad. Phillies go down quietly. We go to the second here at Citizens Bank Park. Marlins lead at 1-0. Mike Stanton due up third. Rick Tocchet and Jeremy Roenick on the Ultimate Goal tonight at 10:30 on Comcast Sportsnet. Dan Uggla leads off the top of the second. Uggla too has struggled offensively for the Marlins. He's hitting only .200 over his last handful of games.
A lot of these guys like to come to this park. Seems like the Phillies beat the Marlins down there, and then they went up here for whatever reason.
Marlins took 2 of 3 from Philadelphia earlier this season. And the Phillies went back down to Florida and took 2 of 3 from the Marlins.
You got a lot of guys on this Florida team that are backleggers. I mean, they want to hit home runs. They love to hit the ball in the air, and they like this park.
1-1 the count to Uggla. And he's out in front of an off-speed pitch, and it's 1-2.
And he's one of them. I mean, you see how he swings. I mean, he really sets that weight back, and boom, he lets it go.
Good numbers as you see against the Phillies here in 2010. Kyle just missed with that sinker. It's 2-2. Uggla is third in the league in home runs with 13. Towards center field. Victorino over toward right center a little bit, and he makes the catch.
See, there's an example of him controlling his fastball a little bit better, where he's able to throw a good 2-strike pitch to a hitter in a defensive position, and it was a strike, or at least it was close enough that Uggla thought it was, and he made a weak out.
It looked like he swung with one hand.
Well, watch. Now, maybe he missed his spot, but it turned out to be a tremendous pitch because it was a strike on the outside part of the plate with 2 strikes on a guy, and he's got to be defensive there.
And here's Cody Ross with one away. Ross has hit it 5 straight for the Marlins. His average is at even 300 with 6 homers and 33 RBIs. A couple of these guys have pretty good career numbers against Kyle Kendrick. Towards shortstop. Easy hop for Wilson Valdez. 2 outs. And now we'll get a chance to see 20-year-old Mike Stanton for the first time as he will step to the plate, making his major league debut. And this is what he was doing earlier today, taking batting practice and getting himself ready for BP.
Yeah, he had that early BP and then the regular BP, and man, he hit some bombs. And he kind of looks athletic. See where SC may have recruited him to play tight end or excuse me, wide receiver.
Wide receiver. His family is in town to see him make his major league debut. And it's 1 ball and 1 strike.
I talked about him in the earlier tonight. He's open and then closes quickly. His bat is quick, at least in batting practice.
Well, he led the Southern League in home runs and RBIs and extra base hits at the age of 20.
Pretty good eye.
At 20 years, 212 days, you see his numbers down in Jacksonville in the Southern League. He is the second youngest Marlin in franchise history. Miguel Cabrera was a little younger than Stanton when he made his major league debut. And it's high, 3-1.
Miguel Cabrera made his major league debut. He struggled in that game and then hit a walk-off homer in Florida into the that whatever that is in center field, that tarp, I guess.
Swing and a miss, and it's 3-2. Stanton, who played 3 sports when he was in high school, played football, basketball, and baseball. So he never played travel, AAU, anything, just because he was a 3-sport athlete. And he chops one over the head of Kyle Kendrick. This will be a tough play. Chase hesitated because he thought Valdez was going to take it. And that'll probably be the first major league hit for Mike Stanton. And it's going to be an infield single.
Yeah, they'll throw that ball out. They're waiting to see the scoring decision right now. And now they're going to call time and get the ball. They were waiting to make sure they didn't score that an error on anybody, which, of course, it wasn't going to be. So the guy can hit 500, 450-foot home runs, hits a dribbler for his first major league hit. And as you said, Tom, there's confusion up the middle there on who's going to take this, or they may have had a play. Chase Utley thought that, as you said, Valdez was going to cross over in front. And there's the cheers going up for him from the family and also some Phillies fans.
Well, here's Ronnie Paulino with a runner at first, and Paulino hits it in the air to left center field. Ibanez on the run into the alleyway toward the wall, and he gave way to Victorino, and it went off of Shane's glove. Stanton scores easily because he was going on contact, and the Marlins lead it 2-0. That ball looked like it was catchable. And it just went off the glove of Shane Victorino. We'll see how they score it.
Oh, yeah, it's definitely catchable by somebody.
Well, it looks like they've scored it a hit, so it'll be an RBI double for Paulino.
See, Victorino's playing in right center. We talk about Paulino all the time, how he hits the ball the other way. So that's a much easier play for Ibanez as far as Victorino has to come for that. Now, whether Shane called him off or whether Raul just ran out of he just couldn't get to it, we don't know. But the ball should have been caught by somebody.
Shane looked like he stumbled at the last second before he put his glove up, but he was still there. Here's Volstad, a swinging bunt off the bare hand of Kendrick, picked up by Polanco. It'll be a 1-5-3 putout, but the Marlins tack on one more run. They do so on an RBI double by Ronnie Paulino. We go to the bottom of the second. It's 2-0 Marlins. Top players. Don't miss the action Tuesday, July 13th at 8 Eastern, 5 p.m. Pacific on Fox. And remember, this one counts. Well, the All-Star voting has taken on a different twist. Ryan Howard is still second behind Albert Pujols. Chase Utley is first, and Polanco is first and third. But Carlos Ruiz has dropped to third. Jason Worth has dropped to fourth. Shane Victorino is fifth right now, and Raul Ibanez is eighth. So the Phillies have to pick up the tempo if they're going to get more than the two starters that are right now leading their respective positions. And again, you can vote up to 25 times at Phillies.com and vote here at the ballpark when you come out to see the Phils play. Last of the second, Ryan Howard leads it off against Chris Volstagg. And the Marlins lead it 2-0. Ryan has hit it in 6 straight. And overall batting .286 with 9 home runs and 41 runs batted in. And he takes a fastball for a strike. It's 0-1. Ryan is 6 for 16 on the homestand. Still searching for that stretch of consistency in the power category. Just 1 home run in 6 games here in June. And he lays off a high fastball, 2-1. He's also facing a guy that doesn't give up a whole lot of home runs. Volstagg's given up just 5 this year. On the Toyota Major League scoreboard, the Padres lead the Mets 1-0 at the top of the second. Adrian Gonzalez has continued his hot stretch offensively. Another RBI, this time on a double. I wonder if it was the opposite way. That's where a lot of his damage was in the series against the Phillies.
Well, those balls he hit last night aren't homers up there. That place is huge.
After a walk, Ben Francisco is the batter. Ben is making his 8th start of the year. Overall hitting .233. No homers and 2 runs batted in. And he hits one hard toward third. Easy hop for Cantu, and it's going to be an easy around the horn 5-4-3 double play. 2 outs here in the second. Well, the numbers are one thing about the Phillies offense because it's been staggering how inefficient they've been, but they've hit into a lot of double plays too.
Yeah, that's part of the inefficiency that you talk about. Hard to get stuff going if you're grounding a lot of double plays. You talk about a tailor-made double play ball, 1 or 2 hopper right to the third baseman, and it was hit hard too, so they could get it going in a hurry.
The other thing that the Phillies have done is that they've fallen behind in a lot of their games. In fact, this is the 17th game during a particular stretch in which the Phillies have fallen behind in 15 of the last 17 games.
We used to talk about that all the time with them. In the last few years, they did a lot of that. But their offense, they would come back and win games. You get down 2-3 runs, there's no big deal. But now you get down a couple runs, you think, that's a problem.
Ibanez hits it hard right into center field, and that's the first hit of the night for the Phils.
You look back on, as Tom mentioned, the double plays they're hitting into, how many times after they hit into a double play, they'll get another hit, a walk or something, and then the third out of the inning, where they may have had 3 or 4 base runners in it, they didn't get nothing out of it.
You see the struggles for the Phillies. The last 15 games, .211 team batting average, averaging under 2 runs per game. But again, the pitching has been very good. Here's Wilson Valdez. Overall hitting .256. And a fastball taken for strike 1. Wilson is 1 for 5 on this homestand. And a curveball hit back toward the middle. Ramirez reaches, has it, throws off balance, pulls Sanchez off the bag. Ibanez will go to third, up to second Valdez. That'll be the 7th error, one way or another, for Hanley Ramirez. And the Phillies have 2 runners in scoring position.
Yeah, as you say, one way or the other, because they'll make a decision there on whether that's a hit and then a throwing error or not, or whether it's an error all the way. That was a heck of a play by Ramirez to get to that thing. And then he made a snap throw across his body with a really strong arm. And Sanchez can't get to it. Now see how strong he is, and he just flips that thing. I think where Sanchez makes his mistake right there is he doesn't go get this ball. He's still kind of, look, he's stretching like he's going to have a play at first base instead of anticipating that that thing is way off the bag and he has no play, and go and block it at least. And it is an error all the way.
They've scored an error all the way. And again, the Marlins have made the most errors out of anybody in the National League this year. And it's the 7th on Hanley Ramirez. Let's see how Olstead pitches Carlos Ruiz with first base open, leading it 2-0 here in the bottom of the 2nd. And the pitcher due up next. I doubt Carlos is going to get too many fastballs.
You got 2 hooks in the dirt. See if he would chase. Sometimes they'll do that and then just walk the guy. Molino's looked over in the dugout a couple of times now. The 4 fingers go up and they'll walk, and Freddie Gonzalez pointed to him and put him on. He didn't bite on the first 2, so we'll just get this over with.
So it's going to be up to Kyle Kendrick with the bases loaded. The Phillies down 2-0 here in the bottom of the 2nd. There's intentional ball 4. Kyle picked up his first base hit of the season in his last start. He had been 0 for 16. He's got a hit now in 18 official at-bats. Carlos Tosca sitting next to Freddie Gonzalez, his bench coach, former manager of the Toronto Blue Jays. Ibanez is on third, Valdez on second, and Ruiz over at first. And the first pitch, a fastball down low, 1 ball and no strikes. Well, maybe Kyle would take it until he got a strike, although that was a strike. He just wound up missing it. Chan Ho Park against the Marlins. That was a bullet.
He's down there, right?
Yep. 1-2 the count. The Lucky McDonald's Phillies home run jackpot contestant is Joe Plaskett of Atco, New Jersey. If the Phillies hit a home run in tonight's ball game, Joe will win $300. Kyle Kendrick hits one here. Joe's not only going to get $300, but he's going to be excited. Opposite way, ground ball. Ruiz tried to shield Sanchez, but he wasn't buying it, and he takes it to the bag himself. So for the Phillies in the 2nd, no runs, 1 hit. There was 1 Marlins error. The Phils strand the bases loaded as we go to the 3rd. Then Percy Garner from Ball State. Cameron Rupp, a catcher from the University of Texas, was the third pick by the Phillies. And a lot of pitchers so far on the first couple of days of the draft. And speaking of the draft, the Phillies director of scouting, Marty Wolliver, joins us up here in the booth. He's got a break in the action, although I guess you're probably done for the day.
You know, I think right now, Mac, we're just about finished. That 30th round was about to go on as I left the room, so we're just about done.
The amazing thing is, if anybody saw the first round, it's kind of slow. After that, boy, it really picks up.
Yeah, it's kind of like the old days. It really picks up speed and goes downhill, and it goes pretty quick.
A lot of pitchers for the Phils in the first couple of days.
Yeah, we we're trying to address a couple of needs, and they just happen to be there at the right time.
And we go to the top of the third. Chris Coughlin leads it off. He lined out to left his first time up, and he lines that one right at Chase Utley.
One of the things you always think about this time of the year when you guys are doing what you're doing is signability, because I know you do a lot of research into that, whether you're going to pick a guy and you can sign him or not. Is Jesse Biddle going to play here?
Yeah, I sure hope so. Obviously, Wheels, we think he's got quality stuff and great makeup and tremendous family. So, put all the intangibles together as well as what he brings to the party with all the stuff that he has pitching-wise. We think he's got a great chance to pitch here.
It's a great comparison you guys made of him and maybe Kershaw at the same age.
Yeah, I think when I saw Clayton in high school, they reminded me a lot of each other. And Jess's arm works very easy and downhill, and got a chance to have three very good pitchers.
Little cue shot to the right side. Kendrick is going over to cover, and Ryan Howard never did get a handle on it. It was just kept on spinning.
Yeah, that was like picking up a spinning top right there. And oh boy, you see a ball come off the bat from a right-hander like this. Look at it spinning. Now, it's no excuse. You got to make the play, but he doesn't. That thing went in the glove and was still spinning.
And to Sanchez's credit, he was hustled all the way. He was putting a lot of pressure on both Ryan and Kyle to make that play quickly.
Hey, Marty, how about drafting a catcher up fairly high? Is that a need in the organization?
It is. We've lost a few over the years with Jaramillo and Louis Morrison, and of course we traded D'Arnaud.
Hanley Ramirez is going to give the Marlins a 4-0 lead. He just golfed that one to the back of the lower level and left. That was a bullet. That lady's thinking, I'm way back here. There's no way that ball's coming near me, and it did. Second home run of the night for the Marlins. The ninth for Hanley Ramirez, and it's 4-0 Florida.
Yeah, you said golfed it. That's a sinker that did not come in. He looked like he was trying to get that ball inside a little bit, and wow, does that catch a lot of the plate. He looked like he hit that off a tee.
Sure did. Well, 4-0 Marlins now in the top of the third. And Jorge Cantu is the batter.
Talking about catching them, Marty, before that, how tough is that to, you always think that might be one of the quickest ways of the big leagues anymore is catching. How tough is it to get catching in the organization?
Boy, it's real tough, Wheels, and real good ones that can catch and throw and also hit go off the board very quickly in the draft. And it's a tough position that a lot of kids don't want to play, don't choose to play, and I think it's still a quick route to the big leagues, but it's a tough job, and to find all the ingredients for a big league catcher are really difficult to get.
Tell us about Cameron Rupp a little bit too, Marty. What you liked about him when you saw him in Texas.
Cameron is a.
That one's right at Shade Victorino, and he makes the catch.
Cameron is a real big, strong, durable kid behind the plate, and he's got plus raw power. And we just felt he's got an average arm to above average arm, slightly above, and we just put the ingredients together from a durability standpoint, strength, that we thought at that point in time it was really just too good to walk by.
And plus, he's coming from the University of Texas. I know there's always that conversation about college or high school guys, but a catcher playing at the University of Texas, that's a pretty good pedigree too.
Yeah, he's handled a lot of good pitchers down there, which is really another plus. And he's called his own game for the most part, so I think he's got a pretty good handle on things.
Dan Ugla sends Shane Victorino back to the warning track. He makes the grab for the final out here in the third. A 2-run home run by Hanley Ramirez has given the Marlins a 4-0 lead. Marty Wolliver's going to stay with us as we go to the bottom of the third with the Phillies down 4. We talked about the Phil's top pick in yesterday's first part of the Major League Baseball amateur draft. That's Jesse Biddle. And Jesse had a lot of strikeouts this past year at Germantown Friends, a big kid at 6'5", 235 pounds. And he was the Phillies' first pick, the 27th selection overall. As you said, Marty, and Marty Walver, the Phillies director of scouting, joins us here in the booth for this bottom of the third. It looked like he was free and easy with his delivery.
Yeah, very free and easy, and arm works extremely well, throws downhill, and the making of 3 average to above pitches.
It seemed like a lot of people were surprised that he was available at that point. Were you surprised that he was available at that point?
There were a couple of clubs in front of us that I thought he might be in the mix for, and some things changed, and I think consequently he kind of slipped a little bit in the draft, which was good for us because we were really pleased to have him at 27.
Hey, you just mentioned that a couple clubs. You're sitting there, and you got a guy in mind, and then all of a sudden somebody yanks him right before you. What's that feel like?
It's not a good feeling, Wheels. And, it seems to happen more and more every year.
Little tapper to the right of the mound. Ugla hurries the throw in time to get Victorino one away. Well, in the later rounds, which finished up just a few moments ago, the Phils have a couple of pretty good prospects, potential prospects. You like John Hinson, the third baseman who was taken with the 411th pick, and also Michael Neseth with the 531st pick.
Yeah, we took John out of high school, and he went down to Clemson and decided not to sign, but we still followed him, and we think he's got a chance to be a pretty good player, a utility type infielder who can play several positions.
Dan Uglo retires Placido Polanco, so 2 away. How about Michael Neseth, who we just saw?
Michael Neseth is a young man from the University of Nebraska that we thought might be a first couple of round pick out of the university, and he ended up hurting his arm here at the beginning of the year and had Tommy John surgery. But at this point in the draft, we felt like he's had the surgery, and we've had pretty good luck rehabbing people with Coop and everybody, that we'd take a chance and see what we can do to put him back together.
Well, here's Chase Utley with 2 outs as we are at the bottom of the third. The Marlins lead at 4-0 thanks to a couple of home runs. And the first pitch misses low. It's 1 ball and no strikes. Was this draft, Marty, we always talk about high school, college. Where was it dominant, did you think, this year?
Coming into it, I thought, Mac, it was probably pitching dominated, or that was the strength.
2 out single for Chase.
And I think it turned out to be that to a certain extent. There were some really attractive high school players, but the signability wasn't good on many of them. And the ones that were, they went very quickly in the draft. So usually you gravitate back toward the college pitching board, and that seemed to be where the strength of the bulk of the players were at.
What's your feeling with taking a high school kid, a college kid?
Wheels, that obviously the sooner we can get them into the system, we feel better about that. And they have a chance to be monitored better from a number of pitches to several different things from position players. So we'd like to get them in the system earlier. But we don't shy away from college guys, and we kind of know what we're getting into when we get there.
Ryan Howard sends one in the air to left center field. No doubt about that one. A 2-run home run the opposite way. And the Phillies are on the board here at the bottom of the third. Joe Plaskett of Atco, New Jersey. You just won $300 courtesy of the McDonald's home run jackpot.
Boy, the way things are going, how big is that? 2 outs, nobody on base, and 2 of your big boys. 2 draft picks, as we're talking about the farm system and the draft and all that. Base hit by Chase Utley, and kaboom! Right there by Ryan Howard. Look at the extension he gets, and when Ryan Howard hits a ball that way to left and left center, that's when you think, yeah, that's Ryan Howard.
That's his 5th home run against Volstad. And that is a good sign that he's able to hit it that deep to left center field. And that just, as we always say, just sounded like it was hit hard. Here's Ben Francisco. And it's 3-0. Marty, we're seeing Mike Stanton playing right field for the Florida Marlins, just 20 years old. Jason Hayward, 20 years old, who's playing for the Atlanta Braves. A lot of times you don't see 20-year-olds having an impact this quickly. But I guess things are changing a little bit in baseball, where there are guys that you could draft that might have an impact a little quicker than usual.
Oh, no doubt, Mac. No doubt.
3 straight hits now for the Phillies, and that's single by Francisco.
Both of these young guys, ironically, we had Stanton in a workout. He was from Notre Dame High School out in Southern California, was going as a football player, I believe, to USC. And of course, Jason, we were on very heavily, and unfortunately, he was taken in front of us. So both of these kids are great athletes, great makeup, and have tremendously high ceilings. So I expect great things from these two guys down the road.
To make it a little tougher on you, as Francisco goes.
He slipped past the bag, but then was able to anchor his foot on the bag.
I was hoping he'd save so I could follow that up with Marty. What was I going to talk about?
Well, we'll look at the replay. And you think about it, Wheels. Look, foot came off, and then he anchored it back down.
No, where you think you have a guy, you follow him like that, and then all of a sudden he can. No, I know what I wanted to do. I know what it was.
Stay with us, Marty.
Well, the game got in the way a little bit. When you're following a guy, and all of a sudden someone. You want him so bad, and then you just can't sign the guy. Is that something that is just a tough thing for you? Like, for example, if Phillies keep finishing last, you get a high pick. Now you're in a situation where you're a good team, and you guys can't draft high in the thing, or you're losing free agents. You sign a free agents and losing people like that.
It's really frustrating. We went back through that list. David Huff, that's pitching in Cleveland, was a pick of ours that we couldn't come to an agreement with. Rob Johnson, the catcher in Seattle.
Another base hit. This one the opposite way. Here comes Francisco sprinting home, and the Phillies have cut this lead to 1. And now they're hitting some bullets against Volstead.
So it's really frustrating, Wheels. Reynolds, that made his major league debut here against us in Philadelphia about a year ago, and the list goes on of kids that you hope you have a chance to sign. You give it everything you possibly can, and unfortunately they make a decision to go to school. So it's just one of those things. You do your best.
And when you're successful, like the Phillies have been the last few years, it makes it a little bit tougher for you because, like everybody knew who the #1 pick this year. And you don't want to necessarily have that, I guess.
Oh, no doubt. I think last night they ran a promo that we haven't picked in the top 5 since 2001. And you have to think about that. That's every round now. Every round you're picking at the bottom of the round. Not just the first round, but every round, and it makes a tremendous difference.
Do you hold your breath about the whole free agent thing? When all of a sudden you lose your #1 pick when you sign a Class A free agent, you kind of go, "Oh no."
We hate to lose all the kids. They're all like kids of my own, and you hate to lose them, but that's part of the game. That's our job, is to provide Ruben with the ammunition to go out and fill holes, and we understand that. And you hate to lose them, but you understand that. That's part of the process.
All right, so now one more day tomorrow.
One more day. We hopefully we'll go to 50 rounds and try to find a few more players yet and see what we can do and maybe summer follow a few of them and see if their minds change or something changes on our behalf.
You said there were a lot of pitchers taken. Do you have anything in mind that you want to go after in the last day, or is it best available at this point?
We'd like to find a few Stantons and Haywards back there. Dominic Browns, if we could find a Dominic Brown back there, a Cozart, some of these kids that we've had pretty good luck in the back half. Believe me, we'll be looking through the boards to see if we can find anything.
1 ball and 1 strike the count to Wilson Valdez. Valdez takes it outside. 2 balls and 1 strike. All right, so tomorrow winds down. You can't really rest after that because then it's time to sign a lot of these guys.
Yeah.
So it continues to get busy.
Well, and this next weekend there's a showcase already in St. Petersburg for next year's players, high school players. So you're right, Mac. It never ends, and we're out already trying to see players for next year. We're hitting the college summer leagues. We've got all the high school showcases. So, and then trying to sign the players for this year's draft. So it really never ends. Come the end of August, it should slow down a little bit, and then we're right into fall baseball, and we're off and running again.
Do you ever get to the point where it gets away from Paulino, looks like another runner in scoring position where you wish they could? I know you get into the situation with the #1 pick that so there's so much money involved that they would slot guys. Is that ever going to happen, do you think?
I think so, Wheels. There's been a lot of talk of that, and I think it would create a little bit more of an even playing field for everyone, and I think it would make kids make a decision, and I think everybody would benefit, from the college coaches to the professional people and the kids and the families themselves.
Valdez hits it toward the middle. Ramirez is over. He's got it, and the inning comes to a close, but it was a productive inning for the Phils. They scored 3 runs. They sent 7 men to the plate, and we got a quick synopsis from Marty Walver. Marty, thanks for joining us.
Thanks, Mac. I really enjoyed it.
Thanks, Marty.
Draft will have one more day. Make sure you follow it on Phillies.com. When we return, we go to the top of the 4th. It's a wheels when you guys pass each other as the innings come to a close before the 7th. Can you name the pitcher that the Phillies drafted out of Fresno State in 1973 who went directly to the major leagues? If you know it, don't tell us, because it won't be revealed till the 7th inning.
I think I might know it.
You do?
Yeah, I'll write it down.
We go to the top of the 4th. Phillies are down 1. Cody Ross leads it off against Kyle Kendrick. Ross grounded to shortstop his first time up. And it's 1 ball and 1 strike to Cody. And now it's up to Kyle to kind of settle in. He's given up a couple home runs tonight, but his team is pulled back to within 1. Sarge, I didn't think the ball would jump out of here the way it's jumping these first few innings.
Yeah, especially since it's gotten a little bit colder. Usually when it's hotter, the ball will travel. Balls were hit pretty hard, though.
Yeah, Henley Ramirez and Ryan Howard hit 2 that really didn't matter how cool, how warm it was. Those balls were going to be out of the ballpark.
Yeah, those guys, especially with Ramirez, you throw that ball down and in, you might want to make sure it's in. Other than that, you're looking for trouble.
2-2 the count to Cody Ross. Oh, just missed. 3-2.
After Ryan Howard making that error, might have been the best thing there for him. He gets upset, comes up, hits a home run. That's all he has to do. Get that ball up a little bit, and he's going to start to do damage and take off.
Ball 4. Ross is aboard, and it's the leadoff batter up for the Marlins. Phillies baseball is brought to you by Coca-Cola, the official soft drink of the Phillies. By Southwest Airlines. Go to southwest.com. Grab your bag. It's on. And by Toyota. Toyota's national sales event is going on now. Hurry into your Toyota dealer today. Oh, leadoff walk for Cody Ross. That's the first walk issued by Kendrick. And it'll bring Mike Stanton to the plate. Stanton picked up his first major league hit on a chopper over the mound, his first time up. And he takes a pitch on the outside corner for a strike. It's 0-1. Sarge, I know you went down to the field to take a look at this kid during batting practice. Pretty imposing figure, huh?
Oh, huge hands. I mean, this guy's so big. He can fight a bear with a switch. I mean, he's just really awesome. Legs are big. He has an open stance right now, and pretty soon he's going to have to end up closing that up because they're going to give him a steady diet of pitches on the outside part of the plate. Usually when you're open, you get back where you're a little more conventional.
Swing and a miss, and he's down on strikes. Kyle did not really throw him anything but the one fastball. Everything else was down or away. So 1 out here in the 4th inning. Speaking of standout prospects on the Toyota Major League scoreboard, Delwyn Young has hit a 2-run home run against Steven Strasburg, and the Pirates lead the Nationals 2-1 in the bottom of the 4th inning. Now Strasburg, despite the fact that he gave up that 2-run home run, he has struck out 6 already.
That's right, struck out 6, and fastball up to 98. Believe it or not, his changeup that was hit out of the ballpark, 91. Has a real good curveball. Tony Gwynn is at that game tonight, which was his coach at San Diego State, where he pitched.
I remember last year Tony told us that he thought he could pitch in the big leagues right after being drafted last season by the Nationals. Paulino hits it hard right past Polanco. A base hit as Ross stops at second. And the Marlins have 2 runners aboard with 1 out. Hey, the Atlanta Braves will be in town for a 3-game series beginning Monday, July 5th at 7:05. That's the next Hatfield Dollar Dog Night. Then Tuesday the 6th, the IBEW Local 98 Charlie Manuel Louisville Slugger Bat for fans 14 and under. Get your tickets now by logging on to Phillies.com. Again, the Braves are 2 games ahead of the Phillies in the National League East. So a quick visit from Carlos Ruiz to Kyle Kendrick. He was probably reminding Kyle that Chris Volstad, the pitcher, is probably going to try to sacrifice Cody Ross and Ronnie Paulino up a base with this at bat.
Well, automatic bunt should be here. You know, a lot of times these managers will switch. Tony La Russa does it. And they'll remind them again, he can be in that bunting situation right there in his stance. If you charge too quick, he'll bring it back and slug bunt the ball, meaning swing the bat. And they're trying to get it on the ground when they do that.
Two and 0 the count. Kyle missed high, then he missed inside.
And a lot of times, the harder you try, the worse that it gets. But this is a situation you want to be able to throw a strike. They're giving you an out.
And he bunts it hard to the left of the mound. Kendrick looked at third. Nobody was there, and he sails the throw off the glove of Chase, and the bases are loaded. Well, last start against the Marlins, there was a ball that was hit to the left of the mound, and Kyle threw it away for what turned out to be a 2-run error. And that one off the glove of Chase on what was, as you mentioned, a gimme out.
Lucky this ball didn't get down the right field line. Had to play it first, but a third base, nobody there. Polanco filling that ball there, but he took his time. Chase jumping on that ball, though, looked like maybe he didn't have to jump on that ball. Here's that throw again. He looked at third. He took his time, so he didn't panic. But when Chase jumped, the ball hit him down near the wrist area as opposed to the top of the glove. Doobie's out, just trying to settle him down a little bit here, and needs to get a ground ball.
Well, that's 3 errors now between the two teams in the first 3.5 innings. So it's been a sloppy game. They scored a sacrifice for Volstad and an E1. So the bases are loaded with Ross at third, Polino at second, and Volstad at first. And here's Chris Coughlin, who's flied out to left and lined out to chase. And he hits it back toward the middle, right past Kendrick into center field. 1 run scores. Polino's going to score, and the Marlins lead it 6-3. That ball went right past Kyle's glove. It was hit hard. But, man, if he would have gloved it, he would have had 2 easily.
Yeah, got his ground ball. That's what he wanted to do, but wanted it at one of the fielders, if not himself. Take a look at it as that ball goes through. That's a ball he's got to be able to catch or handle or at least knock down as it goes through. That cost him another 2 runs right there, not being able to knock that ball down.
Here's Gabby Sanchez with 2 runs across, 1 man down, and still 2 runners aboard.
That ball goes up the middle. Sometimes pitchers think it's a little bit harder than what it normally is, and it can be difficult. But major leagues, again, that's a play that should be made, or at least the ball knocked down.
See David Herndon loosening up in the pen now for the Phillies. Gabby Sanchez has scored twice tonight. He's homered. He's reached on an error. Kyle, in his last handful of starts, had kind of taken on the same presence that he had in spring training. You know, back in spring training, he was impressive with the way he dealt consistently. 1-1 with a 1.46 earned run average in 7 games. Tonight, he's been around the strike zone for the most part, but there's also been occasions where he's been nibbling.
Yeah, I thought, his pitches he's been throwing, not bad. It's just some bad miscues.
Well, that doesn't help.
Especially when you're a pitcher that you're not able to strike guys out. If you're able to strike some batters out, you can get away with an error here or there. He's more of a contact type pitcher.
At the knees, 3-2 to Sanchez.
Don't think the runners will be running right now simply because of the pitcher on first base. At second base, excuse me, was a regular player. I'm sure they'd probably go.
In the air down the right field line. Francisco on the run. The wind is really taking that out of play. It was slicing. And the breeze coming in from left center field. And the count is 3-2 as Francisco got his spikes caught in that padding. Both feet.
He's looking at the ball. Look at the flags there. And as soon as that ball was hit near that right field line, it just started going and going and going. He braces himself. Almost need a little help to get out of there.
Another pop-up. This time in play. Chase backpedaling. Francisco coming on. And he makes the catch. No infield fly rule was called.
Good play.
2 outs.
Excuse me, Tom. Good play by Francisco. Anytime an outfielder can catch the ball, especially with runners on base, you're coming in to the play, you got to call off the infielder who is backpedaling.
Here's Hanley Ramirez in the third, and boy, did he golf out.
Looking for it, fastball in. Not a bad pitch again. There was a hitter that was up to the task to hit that sinker in, and we've seen this kid before. He's a good hitter.
Marlins have scored 2 in the inning. Phillies have committed 1 error in the inning. And it was a throwing error charged to Kyle Kendrick.
I think Chase might have thought that ball was going to go a little bit higher. He was trying to make sure that that ball didn't get down the line. But normally that's a play that pitchers will make just about all the time, and that ball was bunted hard right back at him. It wasn't that difficult of a play.
On the outside corner with a sinker, it's 1-2.
See if he comes back inside again. He's thrown 2 balls on the outside part of the plate. If he comes in, he wants to make sure that it's in off the plate.
Saw Ramirez's numbers with runners in scoring position and 2 outs. That's been one of his problems this year. Good play by Carlos to backhand that one on 1 hop. And it's 2-2.
Boy, that ball there just stuck at his glove there. Good movement with his feet. That's how you stop those. Watch his feet as he gets over. That's a good pick.
Not a bad idea. It looked like Ramirez was fishing toward the outside part of the plate. Kyle tossed that one inside. The only problem is that it's now 3-2.
Yeah, I think for me too, he needs to do that. Not a bad pitch to come in off the plate. You'd like him to do that a little earlier. That way it sets up the pitches later in the sequence.
So Volstead on second, Cogwood on first. They'll be going on this pitch. Line drive to left field. Raul Ibanez is there, makes the grab. The Marlins tack on 2 more on the RBI single by Chris Cogwood. We've played 3.5. We go to the bottom of the 4th. Phillies trail it by 3. Buy the Pennsylvania Lottery. Benefits older Pennsylvanians every day. Must be 18 or older to play. Please play responsibly. And buy Xfinity. It's TV, phone, and internet reinvented from Comcast. Bottom of the 4th. The bottom of the order is due up. Phillies got excited. Their fans got excited in the bottom of the 3rd when the Phillies scored 3 and pulled to within 1. And then the Marlins tacked on 2 in the top of the 4th. And now the offense goes back to work against Chris Volstead. This is a Marlins team that started play tonight 5 games behind the Braves in the division. It hasn't really been their starting pitching that's been the problem. It's been their bullpen. Carlos Ruiz leads it off. He was intentionally walked his first time up. And he's behind, no balls and 1 strike.
This club's been scoring some runs. And Wes Helm said just that, you know, the problem has been their pitching, where with this club, it's been more so the hitting. Up until this point here, good to see the guys putting some hits together.
0-2 or 1-2 the count to Carlos.
I think Carlos liked that pitch. Might have been a little bit away. It was high enough, but I don't know if it was on the plate.
Goes the opposite way with that one. Stanton ventures back and makes the catch. And there's one out. Now the Marlins are 8th in batting average at .259. A hair ahead of the Phillies. 10th in runs per game at 4.5. Tied with the Phillies. 52 home runs. And that's one less than the Phillies coming in. But they've hit 2 tonight. And the Phillies have hit 1. So they're even. They haven't hit well with runners in scoring position. They've had an up and down month of June. As we said, their bullpen, which has been in flux since the Phillies were in South Florida. Marlins made some changes during that weekend series. They continue to make changes, so that's been a big problem. Kendrick trying to hustle his way through a base hit, but he's out. Off the foot of Volstad, picked up by Cantu. A 1-5-3 putout for the second out.
There's a ball, would have been headed right up the middle. Good swinging there by Kendrick, but not enough speed to get there. Cantu coming in and throwing that ball over the first base.
Nice play by Gabby Sanchez to retire Kyle Kendrick. And here's Shane Victorino. It's 0-2, and he hits one in the air to right field. Stanton going back to the warning track. Will the wind keep it in the yard? Gone! Solo home run for Shane Victorino. And the Phils are back to within 2. Home run number 10 for Shane. An inning after Ryan Howard hit his 10th. And the Phillies trail it by 2, 6-4.
Yeah, not only was that ball up in the zone, he ended up getting his foot down, and when he does serious damage. There's the foot down. See you later. Kind of knew he thought he hit the ball out of the ballpark.
It was tough to tell the way Stanton was going back. He's not used to the surroundings, but he was going back thinking he had it play. Then it looked like he thought, I don't have a play. And then at the last moment, he's thinking, well, maybe it will stay in the yard. To Polanco. Take it low, 1 ball and 2 strikes. So 2 home runs for the Phillies, including that one by Shane Victorino. 2 for the Marlins. And it's a 6-4 game. Sarge Charlie was saying today that a lot of the problems the Phillies have had offensively is because it's a collective slump. If one guy is hot, another guy feeds off of that, and then the other guys feed off of that. They're just not getting, consistency through the lineup. Now Victorino hits that home run there that gentleman has. But Shane, who's had a good homestand, and Polanco, who's also had a good homestand, it hasn't carried over to the middle of the order just yet.
Yeah, well, it does become contagious, no doubt about it, and contagious the other way. When you start to lose, you start looking at different ways where you're going to lose, and vice versa when you're winning.
Swing and a miss. That ball rolls up the third base line. Paulino, though, throws out Polanco. The Phillies do get a run back on the home run by Shane Victorino, his 10th of the year. So we've played 4. Balls are flying out of the yard tonight at Citizens Bank Park. Cantu leads it off for the Marlins against Kyle Kendrick. It's a 2-run game. Cantu is 0 for 2. He is struck out and lined out to center. Kyle has not had a clean inning so far. He's allowed runs in each of the first 4. So he needs a clean inning here. There's a strike on the inside corner. It's 1-1. Out in front. So 1 ball and 2 strikes to Kyle. Last 6 outings for Kendrick coming into tonight. A 3-1 record, a 2.56 earned run average.
Still keeping that ball down, which is a good idea. Kyle does have to mix them up, coming inside, outside, change up here, there.
Slow chopper toward third. Polanco waited back on it. Now he comes in, throws low, dug out by Howard, 1 away. Hey, voting is now open for the 2010 All-Star Game in Anaheim. Help send your favorite Phillies to this year's All-Star Game by voting up to 25 times at Phillies.com. Visit Phillies.com. Cast your ballot now for your 2010 All-Stars. Vote early, vote often. Vote today at Phillies.com. Mention that Chase Utley and Placido Polanco are both leading their respective positions. But the others need some help. So make sure you get online today and keep on voting. Dan Uggla 0 for 2. And the count is no balls and 1 strike. He has flied out to Victorino both times. And it's no balls and 2 strikes. It is a beautiful night here in Philadelphia. It doesn't matter where you are in this ballpark. You can get the same feeling that gentleman has right now. Taking a look out at Center City. It's crystal clear. Tonight marks the 70th consecutive sellout. Even yesterday, the buildings in Center City were absolutely picturesque. And look at that. That is a great shot from behind home plate. Swing and a miss, and Uggla's down on strikes. 2 away. It looks like Kyle's made a little bit of an adjustment in this inning.
And when you can get hitters to be off balance, and Uggla's a pretty good hitter, you know you've done your job. It just fools him. You can see he's right on his front foot there, out in front of that pitch. Tells me that it's off speed.
Oh, and 2 outs. Rich Dubio watched Kyle Kendrick go back to work against Cody Ross, who he walked to start the 4th. And Ross came around to score. Popped it up. Behind home plate. Ruiz off with the mask. Giving it a look. And he runs out of room. Ball just threaded right down along the screen.
Thought he had a chance maybe to come back a little bit. Ball did not.
A little low, and it's 1 ball and 1 strike. The Phillies pitching staff, as we mentioned, has been very good even during the stretch of troubles for the offense. The offense with 2 home runs tonight. First time since the 21st of May against the Red Sox that they've hit more than 1 home run in a game. Ross rolls over on that one to shortstop. Valdez stays down on it, and it's a 1-2-3 inning for Kyle Kendrick. Boy, he needed that. He's retired 5 in a row. Now he gives the offense another chance to come on back. Every time the Phillies retire the opposing team in order, Comcast will make a contribution to Phillies charities. Phillies baseball is brought to you by the Xfinity Triple Play, your complete lineup for digital TV, high-speed internet, and home phone. Well, last to the fifth, Chase Utley leads it off. Chase singled his last time up, flied to left his first time to the plate. So he's 1 for 2. Phillies are hoping that he can string together a couple hits in a row because it's been a real tough road for Chase. See the sky out over left field foul pole. And Volstead delivers one outside. It's 1-0. I thought it was interesting today, Sarge, that Charlie, when he was asked about Jason Worth, taking tonight off, possibly taking tomorrow off, but Charlie wouldn't say definitely. Folks asked him about Chase. Do you think Chase needs a day off? And Charlie said, well, I can put one of the bench players in. They've done a good job. Juan Castro has done a very good job. Put Greg Dobbs at third, moved Polanco to second. But those guys haven't played a whole lot either. So I'm going to take Chase out, who is struggling offensively, put somebody else in who hasn't played a whole lot. He said it might defeat the purpose.
Well, and again, too, you don't want to take them all out. And he has stuck with these guys, and these are the guys that got to the World Series and more.
There's a liner to right field over the head of Stanton off the top of the wall. Utley will hold up at first, and he's got a 2-hit night. Well, that's a pretty good stroke right there.
Well, the sign, though, that you're looking for is him hitting that ball hard as he snaps that ball right in the right field, just a little bit higher, and it is a home run. But you're looking at a guy that has a lot of pride, and he does that. That ball down in the zone looked like it was off speed. See how that ball just off that flat part of the railing there. Didn't hit the top of it, but it was hit hard. Smart base running, not going to second base.
Well, Ryan Howard homered his last time up, walked back in the second. Phillies trail it by 2. They've got the leadoff batter aboard. Now that shift that the Marlins and every other team usually puts on against Ryan Howard is in a little bit. Ryan Howard, his home run back in the third, meant that he was safe at home, safe and secure with New York life. They'd like him to be safe and secure at home again.
You noticed on that stroke, though, he didn't stride hardly at all. But sometimes he strides, sometimes he doesn't. That would tell you that he's in between. But when he's hitting that ball hard and going deep, he's feeling good about himself. That's a good indication that he's getting ready to warm up and hopefully start to drive even more balls out of the ballpark. And he is conscious of it, believe me. When you've hit as many home runs as he's hit, and you haven't hit one in a long time, you begin to think about it.
Way inside, 1-1 to Ryan.
Well, it's interesting whether or not he's hitting or not. Pitchers are going to still pitch him tough. Game gets on the line where he has the opportunity to win the game. A lot of times he'll be intentional walk. And he's been getting himself out for the most part, just swinging at balls that have been down in the zone.
Rolls over on that one to the right side. The quick flip to second, and Ramirez dropped the ball. Everybody is safe. The Phillies have 2 aboard here in the 5th.
Well, he was getting ready to get up to run. He knew nobody was at third base on that. As he comes in, sliding very hard. This guy plays the game the way that it should be played. All out on every play. Never giving up. As he comes in and double play ball here as it was hit. The ball, though, hit in the hole. You can see Uggla making a pretty good toss there, but he never had the ball. End up hitting his left ankle to see where the ball goes there. He just didn't go into his glove.
That's a good slide by
Chase.
Chase.
Boy, he's taking him out. As long as you can touch that bag, everything is okay. See, Utley was getting ready to get up to run, but couldn't locate that ball. Nobody at third base. And that because of the shift there on Ryan Howard. Take a look at the slide. That's how you take out a guy, clipping his legs. Usually that shortstop or second baseman will be getting up in the air so that they don't get the brunt of that slide.
Well, Sarge, they played that way when you played the game, just going in hard and making sure that you hinder that throw. That's exactly what Utley was trying to do. And a little bit of a bonus that he was safe at second.
Yeah, those are the things that when you look at in the box scores the next day is not in there, but that's a big play. Almost as big as getting a hit.
Well, it's another error. It's the fourth error of the game combined for both teams. That ball gets away from Paulino, but not far enough to allow the runners to advance. Ryan's on first, Chase is on second. This Phillies offense, which has really needed a boost. They started to stir this past weekend against the Padres. Let's see if they can pull even with the Marlins here or take the lead. 2-0 to Francisco. On the Toyota Major League scoreboard, the Nationals lead the Pirates 4-2. He's got 11 strikeouts, Steven Strasburg. Adam Dunn and Josh Willingham with each homer. Ryan Sanchez is up to loosen. Only pitcher in the last 80 years to go 6 or fewer innings in his debut, and strikeout 11 was Tim Hudson back in 1999. Strasburg has thrown 12 pitches, according to reports, at 99 miles an hour.
Oh, this guy will not be fun to hit against.
There's ball 4. The bases are loaded for the Phils with nobody out. Randy St. Clair is going to come out to the mound. This is the first trip to the hill for the Marlins this inning. Ryan Sanchez looks to be ready in the pen, but it doesn't look like they're going to go to him just yet.
Well, this is a situation now where he needs to get a good pitch to hit. Fighting Phils haven't been doing such a good job once those bases have gotten loaded. Well, you get a chance to go up there and you hit with the bases loaded. You got to get a good pitch up to 2 strikes. After that, you're more or less protecting the plate.
Well, the Phillies will head into the American League this weekend and then eventually be back here at Citizens Bank Park against the Cleveland Indians for 3 and then the Toronto Blue Jays for 3. That series begins Friday, June 25th at 7:05. Yes, it's a 3-game series originally scheduled for Toronto, now here in Philadelphia. Good seats are still available. Log on to Phillies.com to make your purchase today. The bases are loaded for the Phils. Chase Utley's at third, Ryan Howard's at second, and Ben Francisco is at first. Raul Ibanez hits it the opposite way, knocked down by Ramirez. His throw to second is wide. Everybody's safe. Utley scores. 6-5 is the score.
Well, you credit Francisco for getting Ibanez a hit. He would have had the RBI. But that's what you do. You think about your teammates, especially when things are going bad. A ball hit in the hole, you make sure he's not going to get you at the base that you're going to. Take a look at the good ball hit hard in the hole. Good play, though, knocking it down by Ramirez. Francisco up to the task as he slides in safe at second base. Chase Utley coming in across home plate.
They've scored it, a base hit for Raul Ibanez, his second of the game, his second RBI. The bases remain loaded. Utley crosses the plate to make it a 1-run game. It's an AT&T call to the bullpen. Ryan Sanchez is next up for Florida. 17th game. He's on for Chris Volstad. An ERA of just under 4, 14 hits in 13 2/3. And the bottom of the order is up, and the Phils are looking to do a little more damage. Chris Volstad, well, he had been teetering the last 3 innings, and the Phillies finally knocked him out.
Yeah, he's one of those guys, too. He has good stuff, but always comes up a little bit short.
See the base runners all the way around for Valdez. Valdez has grounded to short, and he's reached on an error tonight. And he rolls that one softly to shortstop. Ramirez, low throw, picked up by Ugla. Howard scores. The game is tied. Well, Ramirez didn't have anything at all on that toss.
Wow, that was a real slow ball, though. And Francisco running kind of like waited, jumping over the ball. And at that time, they're only going trying to get that one out. See, there goes Francisco. Now he slipped a little bit, and maybe that ankle has something to actually do with it. He kind of slipped a little bit as he gave that toss and gave him a little changeup, if you will.
Well, Carlos will bat with runners on first and third. The Phils have a chance to take the lead. And a pop-up foul behind home plate. I like that, Sarge, though. We've seen it a couple times where the base runner slows up just to shield the infielder a little bit. That's what Francisco did on that particular play. I mean, that's the right way to play.
Yeah, it is the right way to play. Maybe because of, say, something going in hard on him, he's not able to plant that back foot to give that hard toss.
6-6 game here in the bottom of the 5th. Carlos a little late on that pitch. It's 0-2. Ross Gload has come out in the on-deck circle. Charlie's sensing an opportunity here to get a little more offense going, particularly if Ruiz can reach. Phillies now with 8 hits in the game. And it all started with Chase Utley's leadoff single and his slide at second that forced Hanley Ramirez to drop a ball. Chad Durbin is up and loosening. And time is called by Ronnie Paulino, the catcher. They'll meet in front of the hill. Think about it, Sarge. That play by Chase, which deterred the Marlins from getting that first out. He eventually scored. I mean, that's basically opened up this inning.
That's the way you're supposed to play it. I mean, you go in hard. Francisco beating a throw from Ramirez to Ugla going into second base, beating that throw. That's huge. Huge right there, because now you don't have that runner on there. Maybe he's able to get that slow roller and turn that double play.
Down and away, 1-2 to Ruiz. Now the Phillies, 5 runs or more in 3 of the last 4 games. The previous 12 games, they didn't score more than 3 runs.
Unbelievable.
They're hoping that those offensive woes are in the rearview mirror.
Very humbling game. At times for the fighting Phils, it can just look so easy, especially when they're clicking on all cylinders, pitching, defense, hitting. And just the opposite when they're not doing those things.
2-2 the count to Carlos. Lays off. They appeal. No swing, says Tony Randazzo. You send Valdez here, Sarge?
Yeah, I do. Well, the only reason that he won't send them, you don't have a lefty warming up there in the bullpen. He wants to make sure maybe Gload is going to hit.
Well, the Marlins are trying to get a peek as to whether Valdez would be going. He didn't flinch at all off first. That's why Sanchez stepped to third and looked to first. 3 balls, 2 strikes, 1 out. Carlos Ruiz at the plate. He goes. The ball is lined towards center field. Ross makes the grab. Valdez goes back to first. Francisco draws the throw. You know, that may not have been a bad idea by Francisco, because Ross probably had a chance to take a chance at getting Valdez at first.
I thought he was going to throw that ball dead into first base. He had Valdez right in his sights for coming in, knowing his arm. He throws the ball to home. Now look at that runner in your bottom box. He takes off. He looks to see if that throw's coming, and was a good throw coming home. I don't know. Looks like he could have maybe taken a chance. It would have been bang, bang. But this way, again, you get Globe coming to the plate. They have to pitch to him. So see how it turns out.
First and third. Ross Globe has 2 pitch hit home runs this year. Overall, he's 8 for 41. And he takes an off-speed pitch outside, 1-0. Kyle Kendrick went 5 innings tonight, 6 hits and 6 runs, 1 walk and 4 strikeouts. Two and 0. Active leaders and pinch hits. There's Glode, 5th, right behind Greg Dobbs. Out in front of a changeup. 3 straight off speed pitches from Sanchez. It's 2-1.
Now they know he's a dead fastball hitter. He likes it. Okay to swing at that changeup, though. Got to keep those hands back. Hope for the ball to be up in the zone a little bit, not over swinging.
Popped it up. Left center field. Chris Conklin is in, makes the catch. The Phillies strand 2, but they get 2, and they even this one up at 6 apiece. We have played 5 in Philadelphia, all tied up at 6. After 5, he allowed 6 hits and 6 runs. The good news for Kyle, though, is that he's off the hook as we go to the top of the 6th. In fact, both starters are off the hook. Chad Durbin takes over. 24th game for Chad. No wins, 1 loss, a 2.96 earned run average. Chad's role has kind of been redefined now that Brad Lidge is back off the disabled list. He'll be used in this kind of a spot where he could give the Phillies 2 innings, to bridge the back end of the pen. And he will face Mike Stanton, Ronnie Paulino, and then the Marlins pitcher spot. The Marlins do have bullpen action right now. Jorge Sosa's up and throwing. Mike Stanton's 1 for 2. Picked up his first big league hit back in the 2nd. Scored his first big league run. There's Sosa. It was back in the 2nd. He's also struck out. Good off-speed pitch. It's 1-2 to Stanton. Mentioned the Phillies, Sarge. Their pitching staff has been really good, even with the struggles for the offense. That includes the bullpen. In fact, overall, the Phillies staff, just in the last 14 games, their ERA is just a hair over 3.
Well, let's face it, without a doubt, if they were hitting, they would be unbelievable. I mean, they'd be up in the game. More, at least maybe 5 or 6 games up if they had been hitting the ball, I would think. And that's being conservative with the pitching that you've been getting.
Pop up toward right field. Way up there. Francisco started back. Now he comes in. He has to come way in. And he puts it away for the first out. Well, it's an exciting night for Mike Stanton and his family. It's his dad who's on watching the ball game. Again, in from California. And they say that this kid is going to play every day. Freddie Gonzalez was unsure whether he wanted to bat him 7th or bat him 2nd because he wants to take some pressure off him. And that happens a lot with a lot of young players. But he said he will only bat him 2nd if Hanley Ramirez led off. But since Ramirez is back in the 3-hole, that's why he put him in the 7 spot.
Right, hitting up above and hitting 2nd, you might get more fastballs in that situation. And they will pitch to you a little bit more. They don't want to walk you. And in the 7 spot, though, you're not coming up as much in those key situations.
Now, if he starts out like Jason Hayward started out with the Braves, then he's probably going to move up in the lineup.
You would think. So, I mean, Hayward has done that.
Paulino takes a fastball, and it's 2-2.
You get young players, they're going to come up, they're going to struggle, but you can see the talent right away in a lot of the young players that are coming up. And the one thing that most of them can do is to hit a fastball. You know, the adjustments will come on off-speed pitches for younger players.
Swing and a miss. Right over top of that 2-2 changeup. And Durbin's got a strikeout. 2 away here in the 6th inning. Well, it's time now, Sarge, for a Coors Light freeze cam. Last night we looked at shoes. Tonight we look at gloves. Whose glove is that, Sarge?
Well, I got to say it's got to be outfielder's glove. Let's go with Jason Worth.
You would be incorrect. It's Chase Utley. All right, our next glove. What do you think?
Oh, gosh. I don't know. Let's say Ibanez.
Shane Victorino. Final one. Come on, Sarge, bring it home. Ryan Howard brought that play home to the first base bag. It's a 1-2-3 inning for Chad Durbin. That was our Coors Light freeze cam. We had one more shot to give you just to give Sarge one more chance. We'll maybe hold on to it for a later date. Good. We go to the bottom of the 6th. It's a 6-6 game. amazingly low office product prices. And by Southwest Airlines. Go to southwest.com. Grab your bag. It's on. Beautiful shots from Center City. The orange lights are on in honor of the Philadelphia Flyers. Game 6 of the Stanley Cup Finals will be here tomorrow night. And what a pitching matchup we have on tap for tomorrow here at the ballpark. Roy Halladay against Josh Johnson. The same matchup that we saw down in South Florida when Roy threw his perfect game. There's still some seats available for tomorrow's game if you want to snatch them up. You can log on to Phillies.com. Stop by the ballpark tomorrow morning. And it's a great matchup. In fact, around baseball, there's not going to be a better one on paper. Jorge Sosa is the new pitcher for the Marlins. And he fires a fastball to Shane Victorino outside, 1-0. Shane homered his last time up. He's 1 for 3. Phillies trailed 4-0 in this game. Then 6-3. I wonder if the ability to come back from these two large deficits, if that can instill some confidence in them.
Well, they've been hitting the ball now, and they will have confidence that they can score. Not only that, put together some hits in a row. But once you're able to get those home runs, and that's a big part of their attack, let's just face it, they start feeling good about themselves.
Torito taking all the way. It's 3-1. On the Toyota Major League scoreboard, the Nationals lead the Pirates 4-2 at the bottom of the 7th inning. How about that debut? Steven Strasburg has 14 strikeouts on 94 pitches. Victorino draws a walk to begin the 6th. I mean, Sarge, no pitcher has ever struck out 14 or more on so few pitches ever.
This guy, I mean, looking at him pitch is, I mean, you're looking at almost history. And I got to tell you, guy pitches fluid. He stands on the mound, very intimidating with a hard hook.
And we're not talking Major League debut. We're talking ever.
Unbelievable.
With that few pitches. Here's Placido Polanco, who's 0 for 3. And it's 1-0. And that's 5 of 6 out of the strike zone from Sosa to begin the inning.
No, it's interesting. They said he was only going to go maybe 5 or 6 innings, but boy, 14 strikeouts at this rate, he's going to end up catching the leaders in the league.
Well, during his minor league starts, there were a handful of starts, particularly in AAA at the beginning, where he only threw 80 pitches. So he's stretched out, but I'm not sure if he's going to be stretched out much farther than where he's at right now.
Well, they end up having close to a full house. If not a full house, then they were actually scanning the stands.
Polanco bunts and bunts it foul. Yeah, they were selling standing room only tickets earlier tonight.
Unbelievable. Oh, that's what they wanted, to be able to hype it up like that. But more importantly, the way that he was throwing, and almost had a daily watch on this kid in Washington, the different leagues he was in, and very successful in all of them.
Outside with a fastball, 2-1 to Polanco.
Be a great time for either a steal or maybe a hit and run. It's a hit and run. He gets that ball on the ground automatically. Victorino should be there on third base.
Sosa is not that quick to the plate. He's a power pitcher, so that helps. But he's always got that kick, even from the stretch. So it gives the base runners an opportunity to get a good jump.
Yeah, and if you're hitting and running with that two-seamer he throws inside, very difficult pitch to handle, and that's what he throws a lot of.
Changes, let go. The pitch is hit the opposite way, a base hit, and that's going to get Victorino to third. Depending on how Stanton plays it, he played it well. Victorino might have had a chance to score, but the Phillies will take first and third with nobody out.
Good hitting by Polanco, getting in back of the runner, just as good as a hit and run as the ball goes down that right field line. This guy just turned out to be a super second hitter simply because he can do that. He can hit with 2 strikes. This ball smoked down the line there. You can see right fielder coming over. He plays that ball pretty good. There's Victorino automatically. He's headed to third base. Never looking. He'll get there and see if he can get more. Nice base running by Polanco and getting back to first base.
So first and third, nobody out. Chase Utley has 2 hits tonight, 2 runs scored, and he's the batter. Phillies and the Marlins tied at 6. The Phillies trailed by 4 at one point, then by 3. And Chase hits it in the air to left center field. That'll be deep enough to get Victorino home. Codwood is back into the gap, makes the catch. The Phillies will take the lead. How about that? A sacrifice fly by Chase. It's 7-6 Phillies.
See where the ball is. That ball up a little bit above the knees there. He did the job. He knows he drove it far enough in the outfield. And one of the smart things, though, not waiting. Usually he takes a lot of pitches, getting in the hole, a little more aggressive there, swinging at first pitch.
And he gets the fastball, too, that he needed. It's a 1-run lead. Here's Ryan, who has scored twice tonight. 3, 4, and 5 for the Phillies. 5 runs scored, 3 RBIs this evening.
Talking with the guys at the cage today and hitting batting practice, one of the things that I noticed and actually said, it's okay to swing at balls, you know, your strikes, but don't swing at balls in batting practice, because then you get muscle memory. Start swinging at low balls. Get that ball up near the belt area where there should be.
Line drive, base hit for Ryan. That'll get Polanco over to third. And the Phillies are really hitting the ball well tonight. They've now reached double digits in base hits with that single by Ryan.
Now Charlie starts to hear that noise a little bit. Easier to sleep at night. That's what he's a little more used to. Again, that ball up in the zone, and you can't throw the ball by Ryan Howard or most of these guys there. When it's up in the zone there, he's going to put that wood on it. Has problems with the ball that's down. Good throw here. As Slate picks that ball up, he threw that ball all the way on the line to second base.
Sarge, you brought up an interesting point, though. You know, the whole muscle memory thing. As the Marlins bullpen is quiet at this point, you know, they've worked so hard, and Charlie always says, and I've heard him say this for years, that the way to get out of a slump is to keep on swinging. Show me a good hitter, and I'll show you a guy that takes a lot of batting practice. But as you mentioned, you know, taking good quality batting practice, that pays dividends.
Not swinging at everything that comes up to the plate, meaning that you're swinging at strikes, and then you remember that during the game, and when that ball is low, you take it. In the zone, you hit it.
Here's Ben Francisco. Ben tonight has been on base twice. He's bounced into a double play, singled and scored. He walked his last time up. And he also has a stolen base. Toward third, Cantu has it to second for one. The throw to first. The second time tonight that Ben has hit it to a 5-4-3 double play. And the Phillies have to settle for 1 run. They strand 1, pick up 2 hits. We go to the 7th. It's 7-6 Phillies.
Well, it's been a crazy game tonight. A lot of offense in this one, some bad defense, some good defense, good pitching, bad pitching. And the home run ball, it's flying all over the place here tonight. You see the home runs. The Marlins hit 2 right out of the chute. Phillies have hit 2 later on by Victorino and Ryan Howard. 7-6 ball game right now in the Verizon Wireless game. Some of the Phils have even left a couple out at third base with less than 2 out, which is not good. However, it's nice that they were there, because we haven't been able to say that lately.
I agree, Wheels. In fact, they were down 4-0 going into the bottom of the third, made it 4-3, then down 6-3 going into the bottom of the fourth, and they've come all the way back to not only tie it, but take the lead. Top of the 7th, Chris Coughlin leads it off against Chad Durbin. It's quickly 2-1. Not only that, but how about the crowd tonight? 44,000 plus. The 70th consecutive sellout here at the ballpark. I mean, that's unbelievable.
That is. It's just a wonderful tribute from the fans. That Rutgers guy even came down here tonight. The fans, how loyal and supportive they've been. Of course, this team is fun to watch for the most part. Been a little tough lately, but the games, you know, I love these players, and it's been fun.
A liner over the glove of Ryan Howard heading to the corner, and Coughlin is going to have his second hit of the night. He's thinking about 3. Chase's throw on line is offline, and Coughlin is sliding with a leadoff triple.
Cisco had trouble with that ball out in the corner out there. Have to see on the replay maybe what happened, but Coughlin had the play in front of him. He saw it. He can run, and he stretched that. It should have been a double, and he made it into a triple. Here's a look at it. See how close Ryan comes to catching it.
Oh man, right, it looked like it hit his glove.
Yep, really close. And it's going into that corner. Now, what did it do? Well, it took a crazy carom down there away from Francisco, who hasn't played right field a whole lot.
So a runner on third, nobody out. The Phillies play the infield back. And Durbin drops one in against Gabby Sanchez for a strike. It's 0-1. Wheels, we want to wish a very, very happy 97th birthday to Art Mahan, who is the oldest living Philly. He's celebrating tonight with his kids and his family in Manayunk. Happy birthday, Art. Art, who played for the Phillies in 1940, 146 games, hit .244 with a couple home runs and 39 RBIs.
Know his son Ed very well, who was a photographer for the Eagles and the Phillies for a number of years, and did a great job.
Well, Art, if you like offense, you got a lot of it tonight. Sanchez reaches out to stay alive, and it remains 0-2. So Coughlin's on third with nobody out. And the count is 0-2 to Gabby Sanchez. Also want to welcome back our stage manager Christine Connors, who's recovering from shoulder surgery. She's back here with her ice pack on and her sling, but she's ready to go.
She's definitely on the DL, but staging a comeback.
There's the ice pack. There's the sling.
She's tough. She's a former great Penn State athlete, soccer player.
Slow chopper left side. Coughlin doesn't go. Polanco looks, throws, and not in time. Tony Randazzo did the step forward as if he was going to punch out Gabby Sanchez, but he gave the safe side.
That's moving down that line by Sanchez for a big guy who took a big swing and hit a dribbler. You take a look at it right here. Now Polanco is up, and you know, in the 7th inning of a tie game, if the guy breaks, you're going to throw home, and he beats it. At least that's the call. That is really close.
It looked like Randazzo wanted to call him out too. He was taking that big step. So now runners on first and third, and the Phillies will play for 2 as they lead it by 1, trying to get the out.
Right, they just want to stay out of a big inning here. You know, they don't mind giving up that tying run at third base, but they want to stay out of a larger inning.
Durbin steps to third. There's the bullpen action for both teams. David Herndon is downstairs. Rick Vandenherk is upstairs.
And they just brought him back from AAA.
Carlos blocks that one and keeps it around the plate. 1-1. Ramirez's production has been with runners on third and less than 2 outs. He's got Coghlan on third with nobody out. He also has Sanchez over at first. That's a 2-run home run. That was back to the third. He's 1 for 3. And a call, strike 3. That one came right back over the outside part of the plate. That's a pretty good change of speeds by Chad Durbin.
Yeah, that was a changeup. And as Tom said, it came back. That was weird to watch on the monitor because it started away and dove back down over the plate. Watch this thing. Sets up out there, and I'll look at it. Just, wow. I mean, if you're a hitter, you take that pitch. What else are you going to do with it?
Oh, it's the second time that Ramirez has gone down looking tonight. And Durbin now has to deal with Jorge Cantu with runners on first and third. Cantu has struck out, fly to center, and grounded to third. They take that ground to the third right now.
Yeah. This guy's been a big-time RBI guy for them. He hits it hard in the infield. They'd love a hard-hit ground ball right at somebody. He is really a good fastball hitter, too.
He's riding a 7-game hitting streak, and that's all part of what he's done with runners in scoring position, hitting over 400.
He just took a fastball.
He may not get another one unless Durbin falls behind, and it's even 1-1. Five different players, including Ibanez and Cantu, have sack flies, 6 sack flies. That's a long fly ball to right. Francisco's back. It's off the top of the wall. A run will score. Stopping at third is Sanchez. And this game's tied up at 7.
We've seen the way the wind has really picked the ball up and taken it in the outfield tonight. And that one had left the bat looked like it was going to be like Victorino's home run. You know, that looked like it was going to be catchable. The ball out in the right field and kept going. And same thing with this thing here. He missed his spot by a lot, and Francisco jumps. But watch where it hits. It's way up above his glove. You know, it hits off the padding up there at the top of the wall as it just kept going and going. And now the game's tied and in danger of falling behind.
14 runs combined, 19 hits combined. And there are runners on second and third with 1 away here in the top of the 7th. Dan Uggla's the hitter. He's 0 for 3. And Carlos wants to talk about it. I should say Chad wants to talk to Carlos about it.
Well, you go on a night when you score, you give up a lot. That's the way this one's going right now.
There's David Herndon. Looks like he's ready to come in if Charlie needs him. Fastball inside, 1 ball and no strikes. You see Durbin has handled Dan Uggla, who does walk more now than he had a couple years ago. Breaks his bat, back to the mound. Durbin bobbles, looks at third, now to first, fires in time. Bat was flying one way, the ball was going another way, and Chad Durbin was able to recover for the second out.
Wow, that was a tremendous play with all. She said all the stuff that's going on here. He saws him off. Now the first thing you do, he kind of peeked anyway to look at the runner at third. Then he took another look for the ball, and now he knows I got to throw to first and see if I can get me an out here. And does.
He just got Uggla. Couple of close plays in this inning. Gabby Sanchez infield single. And that play right there, one went the Phillies' way, the other one did not. And that'll bring Cody Ross to the plate.
The runner at third not going on contact, and then just froze when it looked like Durbin was going to catch that ball. Then it squirted away from him.
Good play by Carlos to keep that squared up, and it's 1-0.
Now you have a base open. You have the rookie on deck, who is very, very dangerous, but he is a rookie. And Cody Ross is a really good RBI man. They start him with a breaking ball. So see if they're going to try and make Ross chase something out of the strike zone here, or go after him.
Well, they go after him at least with that pitch there, fastball, and it's 1-1.
Pretty good.
Yeah, both Ross and Cantu have been two of the more consistent hitters with runners in scoring position for the Marlins. Lays off a breaking ball, just missed outside, 2-1. Chad Durbin asked Ted Barrett where it was, and Ted Barrett just pointed.
Another breaking ball, and that was spinning a little bit. Whether it was slider or cutter, but that one was hittable. That's not the one Chad wanted to throw.
Opposite way, Chase to his left. He's got it, sets himself, and the inning is over. Chad Durbin does allow a run, but he strands two in scoring position. It's time to stretch here at Citizens Bank Park. All even at 7 with Raul Ibanez leading it off. Seven games. We go to the bottom of the 7th inning. And it's time now for the Dodge Stump the Fans Trivia Quiz answer. The question once again, which we posed to Sarge, who then was supposed to pose it to Wheels. Can you name the pitcher that the Phillies drafted out of Fresno State in '73 who went directly to the majors?
Richard David Ruthin, better known as Rufus, and Tommy Hutton's brother-in-law.
That is correct. Log back on to Phillies.com. Find out if you're the winner of a Phillies prize packet. Thanks for playing Dodge Stump the Fans.
Sometimes I give you a little more than you ask for.
Well, I was just happy that Sarge told you the question.
Did he? He didn't tell me.
He was supposed to.
Well, come on.
Well, we posed it to him, and we said, Sarge, you have to tell Wheels when you guys pass in the night.
Now, you think he remembered that?
I was hopeful.
Please. He was on his way out of here, and I don't know what he was talking about as he was walking out, but it had nothing to do with Dick Ruthven.
There's Tommy Hutton.
And that's Rufus and Hutton married the Harper sisters from Largo, Florida.
Ibanez down on strikes. Rick Vandenherk is the new pitcher for the Marlins.
Debbie and Sue.
Oh, these lucky fans are tonight's Citizens 7. They will receive a prize pack courtesy of Citizens Bank. Citizens Bank with the most seventh-day branches in the Philadelphia area. To find a branch near you, visit citizensbank.com. Vandenherk is the fourth pitcher used by the Marlins tonight. And here's Wilson Valdez, who takes a pitch for a strike after showing bunt. Valdez is 0 for 3. You see Vandenherk's career numbers. He was just summoned back from the minors before this series. Marlins have made a whole host of changes to their roster in preparation of Mike Stanton making his major league debut and trying to fix their busted bullpen. Valdez toward right center. Stanton on the run, and he glides right over to it. 2 outs. And here comes Carlos Ruiz. Carlos was intentionally walked his first time up. Flied to right and lined to center. And it's 0-1. There's Jose Contreras loosening up for the Phillies. Pitcher spot is due up next. Greg Dobbs is in the on-deck circle. Whoa. I think that pitch got away.
Yeah. Get up near his head too, which they nobody likes.
2 balls and 2 strikes the count.
We've seen Vandenherk before as a starter and a reliever, but as a starter for Florida, he's a sinker slider type of guy. He's got pretty good stuff, but his biggest problem has been any kind of consistency on the major league level. He'll go out and pitch a really good game, then he'll just get hit.
Carlos stays alive, and it remains 3-2. Whoop.
Help me back.
Keep your feet in the stands. Ball 4. Carlos took a little peek out of Vandenherk as it went up the first base line. There were a few close pitches on this at bat. Arizona Diamondbacks will be here in Philadelphia Tuesday, July 27th to start a 3-game series. All 3 of those games are night games. So plan ahead as we get deeper into the baseball season. Get your tickets now for that 3-game series by logging on to Phillies.com. By the way, tomorrow here at the ballpark, there are some seats still available for that great matchup between Roy Halladay and Josh Johnson. I mean, that's one that you want to come and see. Because the last time those 2 guys faced each other, it was a dandy of a game.
Not bad.
Greg Dobbs announces the pitch hitter for Chad Durbin. And he pops up the 0-1. Shallow left center field. Hanley Ramirez is back tracking it, and the inning is over. So Ruiz is stranded on first. We've played 7 here in Philly. It's a 7-7 game. allowed a run in 2 innings of work. 2-2 with a 1.02 earned run average. Jose has been good. 23 strikeouts in 17 2/3.
Well, you see what they're trying to do is move him into the 8th inning role. Now that they feel that Brad Lidge can pitch the 9th and keep it scoreless, get a run in the 8th and use Lidge to close out the game. Or if you're still tied in the 9th, maybe you use Brad Lidge in a tie game the way they did the other day, and then hope to win it in the bottom of the 9th.
Can't imagine there would be any transition, any difficult transition for Jose going from the 9th inning to the 8th inning, because he's built up his arm strength. He's so used to relieving now.
Yeah. The only difference, in my opinion, would be the adrenaline rush.
That's true.
You get from that 9th inning when you're out there as a closer, as opposed to the 8th inning, which is really, really important in a game, but it's just not the same. That's why some guys who can pitch the 8th can't pitch the 9th.
Mike Stanton, his major league debut, is 1 for 3. Lines it the opposite way, and he's 2 for 4. That ball skipped right to Fred Cisco very quickly. And it's a leadoff single. Well, Stanton's family is very happy about his major league debut, but how about the major league debut of Steven Strasburg? 14 strikeouts in 7 innings. I mean, Jerry Crawford. Is that Jerry Crawford? I thought it was supposed to be. It doesn't look like Jerry behind the plate. Boy, he was dealing. 14 strikeouts, Wheels, no walks for Strasburg.
I watched it out there for 3
Pretty
innings.
impressive.
Oh my goodness.
Tom Hallion, by the way, that's who the home plate umpire was. Thought that was Tom Hallion's strike call. Well, Steven Strasburg, so anticipated, gets a curtain call in his major league debut, and Nationals win it 5-2. J.R. Richard, Bob Feller, and Carl Spooner struck out 15 in their debut, but Strasburg didn't walk anybody.
Yeah. Well, when I was watching, it was mostly fastball, high fastballs like belt high to above, and a really good hard breaking ball. And it looked like he had a little changeup that he would mix in there too. And they were going 98, 99 every time he threw a fastball.
He had two pitches at 100.
Did he? Wow. It was pretty impressive.
A little low, 2 balls and 1 strike to Paulino, who has 2 hits tonight. Well, 3-1 to count. Contreras not happy about the lack of a strike call from Ted Barrett. Just tossed his hand on his hip. Ted Barrett doesn't usually change his emotions at all. Towards center field. Victorino just a few steps back. 1 away. And with 1 out, Freddie Gonzalez will go to a pinch hitter. It's going to be Wes Helms.
Yeah, he had Barden out there, and now he's going to go to Wes Helms. They have an all right-handed bench now after Bonifacio came up and pinch hit. And he's a switch hitter, and that was the only guy they had that could bat left-handed.
Helms for his career 7 pinch hit home runs. Former Phil, second tour of duty with the Marlins. He's had a couple of pretty good years for Florida. Not the same kind of reception that J.D. Drew gets, but you know.
Yes. The venom level is not as high.
See Wes's splits this year. Sun Life Stadium, a 207 batter, 333 here on the road. Probably see him in Thursday's game against J.B. Moyer as a starter. And a swing and bunt. It'll roll foul. 1-1 the count. Good decision by Carlos. You know, they say that Mike Stanton can run a little bit too. And you would imagine that if he was going to play wide receiver or cornerback at USC, that he has to have some pretty good wheels. He walked by today. I mean, he would have been a really big receiver.
Yeah, he would have been the all-time big corner.
That's what somebody said. He might have played corner in college.
I don't think so.
I thought maybe a linebacker.
Yeah.
He'd swallow up a lot of receivers.
Oh, man.
Well, he will play every day, they said, and eventually they may move him from right field over to left field. But at least for the time being, he's going to be out in right field for the Marlins, which is a big ballpark out there in right. Liner toward right center field. Francisco on the run into the alleyway. He can't get it. It's over his head and it's spinning around. Stanton's being waved home. Utley takes the throw. It'll go over to third. It's going to be a triple for Wes Helms, and the Marlins lead it 8-7. I think Ben probably would have been better off just playing that off the wall naturally, and maybe he could have held Stanton at third, but instead Stanton flies around the bases and gives the Florida Marlins a one-run lead.
Well, you see what happens here. I don't know. You know, he just didn't judge it very well, number one. He didn't run a real good route to it. And then it's way over his head at the end.
Well, that's the 11th career triple for Wes Helms. And he's a third with one out. And the Phillies all of a sudden are down one. And here's Chris Coghlan, who's 2 for 4 with a couple RBIs. And the squeeze is on, and Coghlan bunts it foul.
You can hear somebody yell, "Squeeze!"
Well, Mike Stanton, you know, once he realized that was over Francisco's head, you could see what they were talking about his wheels. He was motoring pretty good.
Yeah, and then it took a crazy carom off the wall and made it easy for him to score when he can run like that.
So he has scored 2 runs in his debut, has 2 hits. I mean, he didn't strike out 14, but out in front of an off-speed pitch, it's 0-2.
See right there, now that's good base running. Watch, keep moving, and now the ball's off the wall. Now pick up your third base coach at that point, waving him all the way around. He scores easily.
With the infield in, here comes the 0-2 pitch. And a swing and a miss, and Coghlan is down on strikes for the second out.
It's a good job by Contreras, because Coghlan has hit 4 BBs tonight, a lot of it on fastballs, on hard stuff, and he kept throwing him splits. And he was a totally different hitter with these splits. Here's another one. Watch this thing tumble, and he just swings over it. And that's exactly what he needed there, was a strikeout.
Gabby Sanchez has been on base 3 times. Homered his first time up. Reached on an error by Ryan Howard. Flied to right and reached on an infield base hit. He just legged it out ahead of the throw by Placido Polanco. To the count. Top of the order will be up for the Phillies in the bottom of the 8th, and they have had to come from behind in this game already. And they're going to have to come from behind again. Not as large a deficit as it was earlier. They are trailing at 4-0 and 6-3 at 2 points tonight. Ruiz blocked that nicely.
Yeah, he's going for the kill right there with a splitter, and that one bounced way up in front of the plate, it looked like. And Carlos is anticipating that thing in the dirt, but that was still a tough pitch to block.
the inside corner, tied him up, a called strike three. Back-to-back strikeouts for Contreras. He did allow the go-ahead run to score on the RBI pinch-hit triple by Wes Helms, but he came back and got back-to-back Ks to finish up the top of the presented by Sloan Toyota right here on Comcast Sportsnet. Another sold-out crowd here at Citizens Bank Park. They watched Wes Helms drive in the go-ahead run with a pinch-hit triple. He stays in the game to play third. Jorge Cantu, a better first baseman than third baseman, moves over to first. And Clay Hensley, who has really picked up the slack in the 8th inning for the Marlins this year, is on at the bottom of the 8th in front of this sold-out crowd that's been energized by a pretty good offensive display today by the Phillies. But they still trail it by 1 as we go to the home 8th. Top of the order is due up, and Shane Victorino takes one on the outside corner for a strike. It's 0-1. The problem for the Marlins has been the 6th and 7th innings of games lately. The 8th and 9th really have not been the problem because of Hensley and Leo Nunez. I guess you could throw Taylor Tankersley in there because he's been their situational lefty.
And that's where they have the game now in the 8th and the 9th.
1 ball and 2 strikes to count to Victorino.
Hensley had a tough time in the game in New York the other night. They do have Tankersley up in the bullpen. So, you know, this could be a 2-batter situation, and then Hensley or Tankersley for Utley and Howard.
Look at that, Wheels, leading after the 7th inning, 26-0. Has struck out twice. He's singled, and he's popped to the second baseman Dan Uggla. Phillies tonight have scored 7 runs on 10 hits.
There've been some bad defense on both sides too. Plays that should have been made that weren't made. Some errors. There have been some really good plays, and there's been a lot of hitting tonight.
I guess that's the good news, bad news part of it for the Phillies is that their offense has stirred nicely. But there have been a couple of times where they've stranded runners at third.
Yeah, and they haven't caught the ball in the outfield.
Down low, 2-1 to Polanco. Phillies, who continue to rehab that strained calf muscle today. Did a little more hitting, did some moving around, did some throwing, threw some BP. 3-1 to Polanco. Chase waits on deck. Chase has had a good night offensively. Hoping they can get to him one more time with a chance to tie this game or give the Phils the lead.
See, Polanco walked around and said that was a ball, but it's not.
There's Brad Lidge. He's getting ready for the top of the 9th inning, one way or another. Three to the count to Polanco. There's ball 4. He's aboard. So the Phillies have a tying run on. Chase Utley is due up. We mentioned before that the American League will be part of the Phillies schedule in a big way in the coming days. And a reminder that Tuesday, June 22nd, that's when the Cleveland Indians will be here in Philadelphia. They'll be here for a 3-game series. 22nd, 23rd, and 24th. The 24th is a Citizens Bank Business Person Special. Get your tickets now by logging on to Phillies.com. Indians tonight trail the Red Sox 3-2. In the bottom of the 8th inning, Kevin Youkilis has 3 hits, including a double, and a run batted in. Chase is 2 for 3. He's got 2 singles, 1 off the wall and right. He has scored twice. He's driven in a run. This has been a very productive night. Polanco inches off first. 2-0 the count to Chase.
Hensley throwing sinker, changeup, and curveball so far. It looked like he threw a couple changeups there to start.
Yeah, I said slider before. It was a curve. You're right about that, Wheels. It's so caught up in seeing these relievers throw slider after slider that when somebody comes in and throws a curve like that,
especially San Diego, after the Padres leave town, you think everybody throws sliders. Boy, they got some relief pitchers that throw hard breaking balls.
Opposite way for Chase. That'll slice foul. And it's even now 2-2. Way inside. Did it get him? Oh, it got away from Paulino. Polanco's going to go to second. Now they say it's a dead ball. It did get his foot. I thought it did. Chase looked back. And the Phillies have runners on first and second.
Well, if they have Tankersley up in the bullpen, I don't know why he'd be up. He's not going to come in here now.
Freddie Gonzalez still sitting in the dugout. There is Taylor Tankersley. And now Freddie is up the stairs. Let's watch this pitch to Chase.
Here it is, and it's a breaking ball, that curveball, and it hits him on the front foot.
Oh, there's Chase pointing down at the foot. Ted Barrett immediately put his hands up. Freddie Gonzalez is out to the mound. That's going to be it for Clay Hensley. So with the left-handed hitting Ryan Howard due up, he'll go to the lefty Taylor Tankersley. We've got a pitching change here at Citizens Bank Park. Depot defensive play of the game, Wills.
Great play by Chad Durbin. The bat spinning out there. He's looking at the runner at third. Then he finally picks it up and does get Dan Ugly at first base. Nice play by Chad Durbin, our defensive play of the game. The Home Depot doing more on defense.
Well, Taylor Tankersley has had good numbers in his career against Ryan Howard. This is his 6th game. A 3.86 ERA after being called back up from the minor leagues. His numbers are better in the big leagues than they were in the minor leagues for the Marlins. He is a situational left-hander, and you see the lefties this year have not gotten a base hit against him. In fact, they're 0 for 6. Ryan is 0 for 6 lifetime against Tankersley. So you have all the numbers. Now, let's see if Ryan can adjust.
4 walks and 5 strikeouts in that 0 for 6. So 10 plate appearances against him.
Ryan has 2 hits tonight, including a 2-run home run. He lays off the curve, or the slider, I should say. It's 0-1.
He's going to drop down. He's going to drop down. And you said the first pitch, Tom, it was a curveball.
It was a curve.
He throws a lot of curveballs, this guy. And what he does is that little hesitation, that little funky delivery. And that's why he can be effective against left-handed hitters, trying to get them to pull off and confuse their timing.
Fastball chopped toward first. Wicked hop for Cantu. He stayed with it. Runners move up to second and third. I think Jorge Cantu needs a new glove. Ball is stuck in his glove.
Almost was stuck in his mouth. That was a nasty hop. Boy, he makes a great reaction play here. Watch this thing jump right there, right at his face. Puts a glove out, and there it is, stuck in the web. He goes, I know it's in my glove somewhere. No wonder I can't feel it. It goes, it almost went right through the webbing.
If I'm him, I would probably go get a new glove.
Look at this. What tremendous reactions there to save himself. And the Marlins from a lot of trouble.
It's a shame that he was able to call time, because if he could have, take it off toward home, he may have had a tough time getting the ball out of his glove.
He was going to have a tough time, because you could see his reaction as he started to run to the back. He didn't know that ball was halfway out of the glove. He knew he had caught it. I think what happened was his heart was beating so fast. He's kidding about that ball going near his face. His heart was beating so fast he didn't know where the ball was, except he knew it was in his glove somewhere.
So runners on second and third for Francisco. Now Ibanez is on deck. He's a left-handed batter. Francisco tonight has a base hit and a run scored. He's also hit it to 2 double plays. And he takes a pitch on the outside corner. It's 0-1. Randy St. Clair came out to talk to Tankersley. I wondered if he asked him what he wanted to do, because Ibanez is in the on-deck circle.
Right, he has a base open. And Francisco's really had a tough night. And a base hit right now could wipe a lot of that away.
And a line drive, base hit for Francisco. He does wipe it away. 2 runs are going to score, and the Phillies have the lead again.
Well, your point, Tom, was well taken. That's a little surprising they let him. Brad Lidge is not ready. They let him hurt him now. But, he's been struggling tonight, and maybe Randy St. Clair delivered the message, don't throw this guy a strike. And what did he do? He threw him a strike. And Paulino was set up out and away, like they weren't supposed to get that ball anywhere near that part of the strike zone. And Ben, who's really had a tough night, as we mentioned, he'd forget all about it when he can do that.
Oh, he hit it to 2 double plays offensively. He's had a difficult time in right field on a couple different plays, but this is a game of redemption, and he comes through with a 2-run base hit. Here's Ibanez. And Raul's ahead, 1 ball and no strikes.
Not a game like this in a while, that's for sure. 9 runs for the Phillies. That's been like 10 days worth.
9 runs on 11 hits.
Well, they have some extra base hits tonight, too, which have really helped.
Including 2 home runs. Yeah. It's the first time since the 21st of May that they've hit 2 home runs in a game.
Yeah.
Crooked numbers, Wheels.
Crooked numbers. They're a beautiful sight.
1 ball, 1 strike the count to Raul. And a swing and a miss. And it's 1-2. Ibanez has 3 hits in the game. And a couple of runs batted in. High chopper over the head of Cantu into right field. It's a 4-hit night for Ibanez, and Francisco goes to third.
There's a trampoline in the infield in that spot. Look at the way the ball's jumping when it gets right in that spot around first base. That's right where he got the bad hop. And look at it again. Here we go. Raul hits it right. Let it bounce way before that. That was a big high hopper before he got there. So it wasn't in the same spot. And that looked kind of like, you know, when you used to play those old AstroTurf games, but that thing was in the dirt the whole time. I mean, it went from the dirt of the home plate area all the way to the outfield.
Here's Wilson Valdez with 2 aboard. He's trying to tack on some more.
Well, watch where the first bounce is. Right there around home plate. And he's holding the runner on. So, you know, he's up, this Cantu, and it goes over his head into the outfield. Now, if he's not holding the runner on, he's playing a normal first base position. That's a nice big old hop right to him. 3 unassisted and 3-1.
Yeah, but it might go through the webbing in his glove.
Could. As you said, he did not go in and fix that, get a new glove.
1-1 the count to Valdez with 2 outs here in the bottom of the 8th inning.
Another one here would be real nice.
At the knees, it's 1-2. He snuck that fastball right on by him. Runner goes from first, and the pitch hit foul. Raul was going on first move almost. Way inside, 2-2. Nearly got Valdez.
He was trying to get a call there. He came out of there hopping a little bit. Had one of them in this inning.
A walk and a hit batter set up the base hit by Francisco that has given the Phillies the lead. Valdez the opposite way, right past Davey Lopes, a foul ball. The man can move.
Still. About 30 years ago, the way he could move. 35. Oh, boy, was he fast. What an annoying base runner when he was in that Dodger uniform. Played with that scowl. And he was good.
Raul kind of got frozen,
I guess.
Cemented into the ground.
I mean, he didn't have that big a lead, and he always got picked off. There you see what they've done tonight. Both teams and runners in scoring position.
17 runs, and neither team has really lit it up with runners in scoring position.
A lot of base runners tonight.
Little roller up the third base line. That's going to be a tough play. Helms will let it roll. The Phillies get another run. Wilson Valdez, an infield single. It's 10-8 Phils.
Another one looks good no matter how you get it. Some good things are happening for him tonight. It's fun to watch it. Freddie Gonzalez doesn't think it's so much fun right now, understandably. Charlie, well, some things are finally going my club's way. And you get one of those, that's sweet. Here it is. He couldn't have picked it up and thrown it down there any better. And West does all he can do, and that's leave it alone and hope it goes foul. Francisco slides home, and they have a 2-run lead.
The last time the Phillies hit double digits in runs was back on the 17th of May against the Pirates.
That was a long time ago. That was the first game of that homestand.
Double digits in runs and in hits tonight. Here's Carlos Ruiz. 8th man to bat in the inning. 2 runners aboard. 3 runs have scored. And it's 0-1 to Carlos.
What do you think? No chance of a 10-8 game tomorrow night?
That old on paper thing.
Oof, those 2 guys tomorrow night.
Josh Johnson against Roy Halladay.
Get ready for some serious pitching tomorrow night.
Come on out to the ballpark. Even if you don't have tickets, come on out. Purchase them now. The 0-1 will have to wait. Tankersley spins back to chase Raul to the bag. Jason Worth is on deck. The scouting report that we got from the Marlins before the ball game was that their bullpen has been very difficult to watch, and their bullpen has given up 4 runs tonight. On the outside corner with that off-speed pitch, it's now 1-2. Chopper right side. Oh, he forgot to cover first. Cantu racing over. He got him. Tankersley was in no man's land, and that left it up to Jorge Cantu to sprint to the first base bag, and he just got there before Carlos Ruiz. But Ben Francisco Philly fans need to know on Toyota Sports Night after the game on Comcast Sportsnet. Well, they'll have a lot to talk about with this one. Phillies lead it by 2 as we go to the top of the 9th inning. And Brad Lidge is on to try to save it. His 8th game, a 1.42 earned run average. He has 2 saves in 2 save opportunities. And he will face the heart of the Marlins order. Ramirez, Cantu, and Ugla. A lot of times closers don't face the meat of the order. It's the guy before him. Not tonight. Ramirez has been struck out twice. He also has a 2-run home run.
Well, that's what I was talking about. It'd be sweet to get another run because everybody they bring up can get a home run. And, you know, keep that tying run off base. If it's a 1-run game, every guy that comes up's a tying run.
See what he's done against Lidge in his career. Yeah, it looks like he's just trying to take a strike, just trying to face guard Carlos Ruiz there. It's 1-1.
Yeah, that's a good job by Hanley Ramirez because, you know, he's not the tying run. It's a 2-run game. He's trying to get on base.
Brad has thrown a good slider the last few ball games, and looked like he threw a good one there. But Ted Barrett didn't like it. It's 2-1.
You saw him asking, like, where was that?
Well, they've asked a few times tonight. That's a real good slider. 2-2. It was down to start, and it kept going even lower as it went to the plate.
Yeah, Ramirez was swinging fastball, heading the count.
Pop up behind home plate, and they'll be back into the seats. Carlos gave it a look. Phillies trying to close out the Marlins while the Braves are out in Arizona. They have a 2-game lead. The Braves do in the division. The Phillies trying to right a whole lot of ships in this 3-game series against the Marlins, against the division, but also keep getting the offense back on track. And this game will encore later on at 10:30 this evening on the Comcast Network. And Phillies coverage on Comcast Sportsnet continues versus the Marlins Wednesday night at 6:30 with Phillies pregame live right here on Comcast Sportsnet. And Ramirez is aboard to start the top of the 9th. That was a slider that was just up a little too much. So the tying run will step up, and it's Jorge Cantu.
Right, and here come these guys, one after another. That's what the Marlins have in their lineup. Home run hitters. Tom said it's a hanging slider, and there it is, just teed up. That one didn't have any bite. And Ramirez hit in the hole.
Well, he got the call on that one, and it's 0-1. You see what he's done against Brad, 2 for 7. Dan Ugla waits on deck. 0-2, a fastball, and Cantu was looking fastball, and he swung under it.
Yeah, he fouled that one straight back. He is such a good fastball hitter. You really don't want to challenge him too many times in the middle of the plate with fastballs. That's different. You know, that one's elevated, and it's really hard to do anything with that except what he just did or swing and miss at it.
No balls, 2 strikes the count with Ramirez leading off first. Not a big lead. 1-2. Well, he's thrown 3 straight fastballs, all in different spots to Cantu. Both of these managers are kind of in the same boat where they're trying to find a little consistency with their club.
Trying to just win a game.
One away. Nasty slider from Lidge.
Yeah, that was a good one. Especially after all those fastballs. There it is. That was a good slider. Great spot. Good tilt. Everything about it.
Great reaction, too, behind Cantu. Dan Uggla 1 for 5 against Brad in his career with a runner at first. Slider swung on and missed. It's 0-1. He's been able to deviate his speeds, too, on that slider, which is a good thing.
Yeah, that was not a single swing right there by Dan Uggla, as these guys are trying to hit a home run.
Uggla's 0 for 4 tonight. A couple fly outs, a ground out, and a strikeout. Fastball upstairs, 1 ball and 1 strike. Phillies play Dan Uggla a few steps over to left center. In center is Victorino. Ibanez is fairly deep in left, kind of straight away, and you can say the same for Francisco and right.
Yeah, they're guarding the line too with Polanco at third because they don't want to give up an extra base hit. Put the tying run at second.
Little high cheese. It's 2-2. Again, Ramirez is on first. The count 2 balls and 2 strikes. A sold-out crowd, and the Phillies looking to take game 1. Straight back. Hit off the wall to our left, right in front of Larry and Scott.
Yeah, we don't see many of them up here.
That's where the ball wound up, right down there.
Got to be a hard thrower and a guy who's strong to hit him back this far.
From Citizens Bank Park, top of the 9th inning. Phillies lead it by 2. They've been down 3 different times tonight. Along with Chris Wheeler, I'm Tom McCarthy. A runner at first with 1 down for Dan Uggla. Brad Lidge has the count even 2-2. And another pop-up, and they'll be back into the seats. He's tried sliders with Uggla, but they've been up. Boy, if he can just throw that same one he threw to Cantu with 2 strikes, then Ramirez would probably be on first with 2 outs.
Then you have all those saves in a row like he had. But that's what he did that year. He could throw that thing right where he wanted to so many times.
Swing and a miss. He got him.
Ooh, that was a good one.
2 away.
That was nasty. That was even better than the one he threw to Cantu, because this one has some serious bite. That guy's happy. Look out, here comes another one, though. Look at this slider. Oh, that's a good one. That's a 2008 slider right there.
So Lidge is 1 out away from converting the save. A runner at first. Cody Ross at the plate. The runner goes. The pitch is high. 1-0. They just let him go.
Yeah, with 2 outs now, they let him go. Meaning that with 2 outs, the infielders are all the way back. You're not playing double play depth, or even 3/4. Right now, you can play everybody all the way back. So as a result, the runner sees that and he just goes.
Quick word from Carlos Ruiz just to go over the signs with the runner at second. It's 1 ball and no strikes to Cody Ross. Boy, he was jumping too.
That's a tough spot because you get the kid on deck, Stanton, in his first major league game. And you do have a base open. Stanton is the potential winning run at home plate. But you've got a more experienced hitter at home plate. So, it's almost like they're approaching Cody Ross right now like, all right, we fell behind him. Let's make sure we don't make a mistake. And we'll take our chances with a guy who's never seen Lidge.
Well, we've seen that before for Brad.
Be careful, 3-0 here. They threw slider for a strike, no less.
On the Toyota Major League scoreboard, the Mets have won on a walk-off homer by Ike Davis in the 11th. It's prospect night in the National League East.
Reliever, he hit that off. That bunch we saw over the weekend. You didn't see too many walk-off homers in
the air down the right field line. Howard giving it a look back into the seats. It's 3-2. And this crowd coming to their feet. We'll have to wait for Cody Ross. He just broke his bat on that foul ball.
I really think Lidge will throw 3-2 slider here with that base open and Stanton on deck. That's why it's so hard to be a major league player on either end, the pitcher and the hitter right now, where you want to go or what's going to happen.
Three and two outs. A runner at second. The Phillies lead it by 2. Ball 4.
He did. He threw him a slider. He just didn't think he would give in fastball there with this situation.
Well, and he has the ability with that slider to throw it for a strike. There's Mike Stanton's dad, who's been watching his son put on a pretty good display with a couple of hits, a couple of runs scored. Rick Stubbe out to the mound. Quick scouting report here, Wills.
Yeah, a scouting report, but I think more than anything, here's what we want to do. He's never seen you. Throw him sliders, I think.
I remember an outing back in 2008 against the Cardinals where Brad Lidge was in a difficult spot, and he had 2 rookies. Joe Mather was one of them. Stavinoa was the other. And he struck out both of them.
Sunday night game.
With the tying run on base. And I said to him afterward, I said, it didn't look like you were phased. He said, I knew I had that game. Yeah. He said, because I had 2 guys that had never seen me before.
Right, and he had that kind of stuff in those days, too, and he's getting back to that now. So, but this kid obviously is very, very dangerous if you hit his bat.
Throws a slider low, 1-0.
How about that discipline? That's a pretty good one, too, not to chase.
Two and up.
Call it low.
Back toward the middle, off the glove of Lidge, picked up by Utley, safe at second. By a hair. It's a 3-hit night for Mike Stanton, and the tying run is at second.
Boy, you talk about a game of inches, and that's what that was.
On a couple different fronts, the fact that Chase got to it, the fact that it just missed the webbing of Lidge's glove.
Yeah, watch Lidge jump for this. It's a slider. It did touch his glove, it looked like, didn't it?
Yep.
If that would have been a 1-4-6. But called safe by Brian Gorman.
Well, here's Paulino, and he fouls the first pitch off. So Lidge works ahead 0-1. He's got the bases loaded. He's got a couple strikeouts in the inning. And Paulino, who has 2 hits and 10 career at-bats against Lidge. Everybody is back all around the infield. Lays off a slider. It's 1-1. See the runners leading off. You see the infield set up, trying to give themselves every inch they can. He's laid off a couple of tough pitches, and it's 2-1.
Chuck's working that gum.
Pop up, right side of the infield, towering shot. Utley makes the call. 18 straight saves at home for Brad Lidge as he works out of a bases loaded jam here in the top of the 9th inning. 3rd save of the season for Brad, and this was a tough one.
Got to throw over 30 pitches.
Raul Ibanez with 4 hits tonight for the first time since May of 2009 is our Chevy player of the game. And here's the last pitch from Brad Lidge to Ronnie Paulino.
It's a fastball.
It was an adventure coming down.
It sure was, Tom. And that was a fastball, it looked like. And he'd thrown those sliders, and he was late on that. You see Paulino's reaction. Now, this is Ryan Howard's ball. Watch Utley run him out of there, and then watch him hand. Well, you couldn't see it. He handed Ryan Howard the ball, and Howard slammed it on the ground like, oh, thanks a lot.
Well, a tough one, but the Phillies